I start by building Chase. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. I was so busy making Chase that I had no time to go to college. Hello, audience friends, we are now on our way to Lin Chen's home to interview the first student in the history of the empire who handed in a blank college entrance examination paper. In the suburbs of Jinxi, a live interview car was parked on the side of the road. Wakalo, a beautiful reporter from the city, explained the situation to the camera. The camera turned to a steel plant opposite. Register at the door. After a while, a man walked out of the factory. He was particularly eye-catching, with a majestic and pure demeanor, as if he was one with nature, and every move was full of inexplicable charm. Suddenly, the audience who were watching the news exploded. Is he Lin Chen who joked about his future? Oh my god, these days, people can do anything to become internet celebrities. It's okay to eat shit, but there are actually people who handed in a blank college entrance examination paper. There are many women who were already mothers among these viewers. When they saw this Lin Chen, they couldn't help but be moved. How could there be a man in this world who is a little more handsome than my son? While the audience was talking about it, Wakalo, a reporter from Jinxi TV, showed a look of surprise. Wakalo ran over with a microphone and asked, "Hello, are you Lin Chen?" "Yes, it's me." "What's up?" Lin Chen looked calm. "Then may I ask, Lin Chen, what do you think about handing in a blank college entrance examination paper? Have you given up the opportunity to go to school?" Wakalo pressed on. "Well, I'm not interested in going to college. I'm so busy making Chase that I don't have time to go to college." Lin Chen looked disdainful. A mere college would only waste his precious time making him Chase. Wakalo's beautiful face froze, her chest rose and fell, and she stood there for a long time without reacting. This is a live news broadcast, not a stage for you to show off. And when it comes to Chase, she instantly thought of Gundam. So this Lin Chen who handed in a blank college entrance examination paper just to avoid going to college and build a mecha at home. That's something that no country in the world can make without a clue. Complex structure, cumbersome wiring, and a power system with no progress, almost every one of them is a problem that hinders the research of Chase. After a long time, reporter Wakalo forced a smile on her capable face and exclaimed, "Lin Chen, did your parents hang you up and beat you?" "No, they support me very much." Lin Chen looked serious at first, and then said seriously, "You can see that our family is in this situation. We only have a steel plant worth several hundred million yuan, so my parents support me in the field of mecha." Wakalo was stunned. She has long hair, but it does not mean that she is short-sighted. Mecha is one of the problems of mankind. It was proposed as early as the last century, but no force has ever developed a real mecha. Lin Chen actually said shamelessly that he was making a mecha, and it was a dual-form one. The most speechless thing is that his parents really support it. She instantly became interested in a deeper interview with Lin Chen, and felt that this family was too willful. It's a pity that such a handsome man has an psychosis. The hearts of the audience at this time were not much worse than those of reporter Wakalo. They all had the urge to pin Lin Chen to the ground and beat him up. Do you think you can do whatever you want if you have money? They had seen people bragging, but this was the first time they'd seen someone bragging so seriously. Especially the other person's indifferent expression, which almost made them depressed to the point of vomiting blood. You know, their children have worked hard for the college entrance examination for 3 years, but they are not short of money, and they just handed in a blank paper, thinking that going to college is a hindrance, just to build a mecha at home. "Sorry, I'm busy now, I'm leaving first." Lin Chen turned and left. He didn't care about the reporter's interview at all, because the mecha he spent 3 years building will soon be ready for preliminary testing. Not long after, he returned to the warehouse. His family lived here, because there was a steel plant at home, so the family did not move to the city to take care of the business. The original steel equipment in the warehouse was moved away, and now a simple and unconventional fighter-shaped mecha is quietly lying in the middle of the factory. The cold machine looks very industrial, and the cool and handsome shape has unparalleled lethality to men. This mecha model, parameter test model. It can switch between fighter form, flight mode and human form, humanoid mecha, expulsion mode. The cockpit is in the form of a motorcycle, and the driver takes a forward-leaning posture like riding a motorcycle. In fighter mode, the driver is exposed to the outside air, while in human form, the driver is wrapped in the surrounding armor and retracted into the mecha. Fighter mode is 3 meters tall. Human form is 7.8 meters tall. Weight 4,300 kilograms, thrust 158 kN, nuclear reactor as the power core, fuel shaft 235 No, read system, progress 80%, weapons. None. The prototype of the mecha now being played with is the Paramour, which is known as the weapon of God in the Dragon Dance of Angels and Dragons. Lin Chen certainly does not have the intelligence to complete the production of the mecha alone. Of course, all this is the credit of the system. He called out the system panel and saw the following. Host: Lin Chen, human, intelligence 199, 60, passing score 60, task 1. The college entrance examination is over, please claim your reward. Task 2. Manufacturing the Mecha Ragnar Malu, humanoid weapon, progress 70%. Task 3. 1 year after the invasion of the giant beasts in the other dimension, crush the aliens' conspiracy to occupy the blue planet. Fan value 1. That's the basic situation. As for handing in a blank paper, it is to complete the system's task. The ship Big in Marvel obtained the technology core, so he made the Iron Man suit. Now Lin Chen has obtained the system's technology, so he is not much worse than the ship Big. It took him a very short time to master the mecha technology provided by the system, and it took him nearly 3 years, and a lot of his family's savings, to make the mecha into what it is today. Even though the mecha has not been completed, such as nuclear fuel, zero-cutting blade, particle beam gun, proton cannon, etc. Lin Chen is already very satisfied, because according to the progress, the mecha can be officially tested in these few days. Afterwards, Lin Chen prepares the most critical step in making the mecha, realizing the neuron interaction technology on the flight uniform. This technology can be said to be the key to the entire mecha, because the technology needs to be realized in the tail vertebrae of the flight suit. A neural interaction line connecting the human body and the mecha must be made at the tail of the tail vertebrae. The main function is to better set up the mecha. And this line is also equivalent to the key of the mecha. Just when Lin Chen was about to start, a sudden burst of rapid phone rings rang. Picking it up, it was a call from a strange and familiar number. Lin Chen frowned and thought for a while before remembering who the owner of this number was. It was his girlfriend, who he had never even touched. What's the use of a girlfriend? There is neither the cold touch of the mecha nor the wonderful roar in the future. Lin Chen threw the phone to one side and began to formally make neuron interconnection. The next day, because the ratings of the few shots yesterday increased greatly, reporter Kuo rushed to Lin Chen's home again for an interview. Lin Chen walked out of the factory with an undisguised look on his face. Willful. The eagerly awaited audience expressed everyone's thoughts. The college entrance examination can be said to be the most important thing in a child's life, but look at how people directly handed in a blank paper. Reporter Kuo's face was delighted, and she greeted Lin Chen and smiled and interviewed. Hello, classmate Lin Chen, we meet again. Before she finished speaking, she was interrupted by Lin Chen, who said, Sorry, I'm building a mecha and I'm very busy now. After that, he turned around and left, leaving Kuo with a free and easy back. Kuo stood there for a long time to react, and her chest immediately rose and fell. He actually used the excuse of building a mecha to tease the beautiful reporter in this city. Just wait and see. Not long after, candidates began to walk out of the examination room one after another. Here, Lin Chen's nominal girlfriend was dating a rich second-generation man and happened to see this scene on the news. Shame on you, so shameful. An ugly look flashed across Lin Chen's girlfriend's face, so she agreed to the rich second-generation's confession without hesitation. Because this rich second generation is much better than Lin Chen, not only does he drive a Maybach, but his family also has a listed company. On the other hand, Lin Chen has no other advantages except that he is handsome and has a steel plant at home. Moreover, he has embarrassed himself throughout the empire. Does he want to be embarrassed in the future? The most important thing is that the rich second generation is greedy for her body, unlike Lin Chen, who has never even touched her hand, let alone certain behaviors. Does she want to be lonely for the rest of her life? So, she got into the luxury Maybach directly, called Lin Chen again, and said, Lin Chen, let's break up. I have found a boyfriend who loves me more now. Such an honest man deserves to be single for the rest of his life. Author's words. This book was first published by Chuangxia Chapter 2. Start testing the mecha. At this time, in the warehouse, Lin Chen hung up the phone with his girlfriend and threw the phone aside with an excited look. Of course, the reason for his excitement was not breaking up. That shitty girlfriend, reporters and the like were not in his consideration at all, because the mecha that took 3 years to make will soon fly into the blue sky. The excitement and uneasiness in his heart are unimaginable. A large number of workers stopped in front of the No. 3-way house of the steel plant. These were Lin Chen's father, Lin Chen, who called them to visit his son Lin Chen's great achievements with the intention of showing off. After all, his son built a mecha that even the Empire built. As a father, how could he not show off? Seeing Lin Chen coming back, Lin Chen handed him a metal box and said excitedly, "Son, this is what you want." Lin Chen carefully carried a small metal box in his right hand. Inside was the fuel for the atomic reactor, referred to as nuclear fuel. He got it from the nuclear power plant at a great cost by using his connections to find a back door. Now his only flaw is probably that the seat his wife gave him is only half as handsome as when he was young. Lin Chen took a deep breath, walked into the warehouse, changed into a special uniform and goggles, put the fuel into the atomic reactor, and the blood in his body surged. Finally, he plugged the neural interaction line of the coccyx into the interface behind that driver's seat. Then he rode on the mecha and operated the indicator. Inflatable chamber pressurization. PMA external and internal abnormalities are normal. Open the safety device. Anti-gravity force field is turned on. A series of operations made the simple mecha abnormal. Because of the fuel, the temperature of the reactor rose by 2 million K, and the inflatable chamber began to react. In an instant, the biplane thrusters began to spray out azure tail flames. At this time, Lin Chen knew that he had succeeded. 3 years of hard work had not been in vain. The uneasiness in his heart was no longer there, and instead, a kind of joy filled his chest. "Hurry up and open the door of the warehouse, don't block me from driving the mecha," Lin Chen shouted loudly. The door of the warehouse was already crowded with people, and they woke up from their unconscious state. Although they didn't understand what Lin Chen was going to do, the big guy he was riding was not a vegetarian. A group of people dodged, some opened the door. Lin Chen couldn't bear the urge to fly to the blue sky, so he turned on the video recording device he carried with him. He needed fan points. There were all kinds of high-end technologies in the system, such as the star-destroying cannon, which used planets as energy and could completely destroy a planet with one shot. However, the premise is that fan points are required to redeem. Fan points are, as the name suggests, as long as every fan will bring a little fan point to Lin Chen. So he not only has to test the mecha, but also improve his fame to increase fans. At present, the exposure of the mecha video is undoubtedly the best choice. Whether it is to win to the core of the Empire or to form his own power in the future, it will bring obvious effects. When Lin Chen was unfamiliar with the flying mecha and slowly took off into the air, the workers in the steel plant were all stunned. "Fuck, it's so cool. It gives me goosebumps. I've seen this big guy in cartoons, but I didn't expect to see a real mecha with my own eyes." The mouths of the workers in the steel plant turned into knot shapes, and they looked at the high-tech big guy in shock. For some reason, everyone present was excited. Mecha is the romance of men, regardless of age. Even a hunchbacked old man would be passionate when seeing such a scene. On the contrary, the workers were shocked, but Lin's mother didn't have too much thought. She shouted with worry on her face, "Son, come down quickly, don't fall." "Don't worry, you won't fall." Lin Chen looked sideways to comfort him, and asked Lin's father to turn on the camera, and then drove the mecha to the sky 100 meters high. The people on the ground could only see two bars spraying blue light behind the mecha. Fast, too fast. Of course, this is only part of the performance of the mecha. Lin Chen did not dare and did not want to show all the performance. On the one hand, this was his first time flying into the sky, and he was inevitably scared. On the other hand, the current mecha was only a semi-finished product. It was good enough to be able to fly and transform. At an altitude of more than 50 meters in the sky, Lin Chen rode on the mecha and drove unfamiliarly. The indicator showed a warning word, and then the fighter form changed into a human form. The 7.8-meter mecha was shown to the world for the first time. Although the iron lump in the sky was still ugly, and many lines and even welding places could not be called perfect, but the lines were already clear and had a majestic momentum. The mecha stretched its arms and moved its joints like a new steel giant. Passionate, very passionate. Fuck. Many people exclaimed. The scene in front of them has exceeded people's cognition. The fighter mecha can actually turn into a flying robot. Looking at the 3-story high humanoid mecha flying into the air, people's hearts once again set off a huge wave of shock. Lin Chen was also shocked, but he still had his sanity. After testing the mecha and recording some data, he turned on the fighter mode and slowly flew back to the warehouse. Is that it? Not going to fly anymore? The workers were obviously unsatisfied. There are still many key areas that need to be supplemented. Now it's good to be able to fly and change forms. Lin Chen was quite satisfied and directed the workers to push the mobile deck containing the mecha into the warehouse. At night, Lin Chen sat alone in front of the computer, slowly editing the video. He planned to put the video online to trigger an effect. However, Lin Chen was a scientific genius relying on the system, but his editing skills were really hard to praise, and he needed to go online to check the tutorial. At the same time, Jinqing satellite TV began to broadcast the news. A capable female host said to the screen, "This year, the first candidate in the history of the empire who handed in a blank college entrance examination paper appeared. What was the reason? Was it the distortion of society or the decline of morality? Let's follow the reporter to see what happened." Everything on the screen was Lin Chen being interviewed by reporter Wikiloo. "I'm so busy making Mechas, how can I have time to go to college? Don't bother me, I'm making Mechas." The above are all Lin Chen's answers. The camera turned again, and Wikiloo said to the camera, "The student just now is Lin Chen, the first student in the empire who handed in a blank paper. According to our understanding, he handed in a blank paper so that he could not go to college and build Mechas at home." Audience friends, you heard it right, the Mecha he called is the Gundam shown in the theater. Reporter Wikiloo commented on Lin Chen, and at the same time did not forget to hint to the audience in front of the TV, saying, "Don't go to college and build Mechas at home that the empire has no idea about." In the end, there was no dispute that Lin Chen was designated as a teaching material case for Jinshi. After all, this was the first talent in the history of the empire to hand in a blank paper, and the excuse was that the news about Lin Chen was instantly widely followed and disliked by the people of Jinshi, and it was likely to become one of the main topics in Jinshi. Chapter 3. Slander on the Internet. That night, many people knew about Lin Chen's willful and bold words. Weibo was full of comments about the topic of being too busy to build Mechas. Many people were browsing Weibo and were attracted by this news. Strictly speaking, they all wanted to see what kind of bold words and deeds were. People clicked in and saw the video. After a long time, after watching Lin Chen's bold words, everyone's face immediately became unnatural. No time to go to college, too busy to build Mechas. It seems that the words are bold and he disdains going to college, but this is clearly a brain seizure. According to the experience of netizens, it won't take long for Lin Chen to be ridiculed by netizens and sprayed all over his body. There are countless comments below. Jinshi netizens. Finally, I was smeared once. Jinshi no. 1 middle school. This seems to be a student of no. 2 middle school. Jinshi no. 2 middle school. Lin Chen has graduated from high school and has nothing to do with our school anymore. Soon, all people or groups related to Lin Chen cut off all ties. Half an hour later. In a short period of time, there were countless comments and likes. I'm so busy making Mechas, how can I have time to go to college? He really does everything to show off. The mecha making Hull head is so fresh and refined. As how expected, countless netizens offered ridicule and slander without hesitation. Not long after, many reposts and copies began to appear, and the news was passed on to every corner of Weibo in a very short time. The news about Lin Chen was reposted in large quantities, so there was no suspense on the Weibo hot search list. The news was like a typhoon, sweeping across the cities in the Wangxin Empire. Many people knew that Jinshi had a mecha-making internet celebrity named Lin Chen. At this time, Lin Chen was unaware of all this and was still sitting in front of the computer editing the video. It was not until late at night that the video editing was completed. Even from his perspective, the video content was still very exciting, especially the part when it turned into a humanoid mecha, which was very exciting and gave people goosebumps. The next day, Lin Chen got up and put the edited video online, then went out to drive the mecha into the sky, ready to practice mecha operation. As for whether the video would cause a response, he did not consider it at all, because this was a test video of a mecha, not a certain celebrity playing basketball, nor a certain celebrity cutting his finger and being called an Iron Man, and other meaningless videos. Just as Lin Chen left, a Mercedes drove into the steel plant. Lin's father was directing the workers to unload steel. Hearing the noise, he came up and greeted with a smile, because the man in the car was his brother-in-law, Ma Jian. "Where's Lin Chen? Where's that little bastard?" Ma Jian looked angry. "He went out for a ride, what's wrong?" Lin's father was puzzled. Lin Chen really disappoints me. He had to show off to the reporters. Now the whole empire knows your son's boastful words. Is he busy making plays? I think he is being beaten. Father Lin looked embarrassed and said, "Keep your voice down. There are so many outsiders here." Ma Jian's face was not very good, and he kept muttering, "This little bastard, I must break his legs today." Whoosh! Suddenly there was a sound of breaking air in the sky. Ma Jian subconsciously raised his head, and his big mouth immediately turned into a knot shape, staring blankly at the big guy that suddenly appeared in the sky. It was a robot about 3 stories high. The majestic lines flashed with a metallic texture, which was daunting. Ma Jian couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and even felt a sense of insignificance in front of this huge robot. Suddenly, his body stiffened, as if he thought of something. Isn't this a mecha? Is it really made by Lin Chen? Then, he saw the robot change into a different form. It was a mecha similar to a fighter jet. With a whoosh, it entered warehouse No. 3. After a while, Lin Chen walked out of the warehouse nonchalantly and said, "Why is my uncle here? Your uncle is very disappointed in you." Lin's father's tone was very strange. "Did you really build that?" Ma Jian looked at his nephew walking out of the warehouse with difficulty. That was the warehouse where the Mecha had just flown in. "I built it." Lin Chen nodded. Ma Jian showed a serious look and scolded, "I am so disappointed in you. You built such a big thing and hid it from your uncle. I'm your real uncle." Later, he grinned, knowing that Lin Chen did not pretend in front of the reporters, and the anger in his heart dissipated. This mecha was built by Lin Chen, and it seemed that he was really busy. He plunged into warehouse No. 3 and stroked the mecha with both hands. The cold and hard touch was much more comfortable than stroking Lin Chen's aunt's body. Lin Chen followed him in. Seeing that his uncle was stroking the mecha more gently than his aunt, and that he was enjoying it, he simply did not disturb his interest. He only warned him about some places that should not be touched, such as the thrusters that had not yet cooled down. "I know. I will just touch it, and never touch it blindly. When I was your age, I read Gundam comics every day." Ma Jian nodded with a face full of yearning, and his eyes were full of love. This touch was completely incomparable to Lin Chen's aunt's body. It was so cold and hard. Lin Chen returned to the bedroom, indifferent to the information on the internet, opened his notebook and began to record his experience of driving the mecha today. However, his indifference did not mean that others were the same. As soon as the mecha test video was released, it immediately set off a huge wave on the internet of the Wangxian Empire. Just like the speed of virus transmission, it took only half a day to sweep the entire network, whether it was Weibo, or the community or even the forum. People saw the real mecha in the video. And it was a dual-form flying mecha. It is a mecha belonging to the Wangxian Empire, and it is actually made by Lin Chen, who is being discredited by the entire network. The world is quiet, and those keyboard warriors who are still mocking Lin Chen are all dazed and don't miss every detail in the video. He is so busy. Is he really making a mecha? Here, Lin Chen's nominal ex-girlfriend Jillian is very proud. Because Lin Chen was discredited by the entire network, Jillian dumped him without hesitation and got a boyfriend who drives a Maybach. Suddenly the phone rang. Jillian picked it up and saw that it was from her best friend. Without thinking, she knew that it must be her best friend's envy. However, as soon as the call was connected, the words on the phone were different from the script he expected. There was only ridicule, saying, "Ah Zhao, are you blind? You broke up with Lin Chen because of a mere Maybach. Maybach is just a mere. It's worth millions." Jillian was confused. "Fuck, if I were you, I would take the initiative to wash myself and crawl into Lin Chen's bed. Look at what's trending on the search now, you idiot." The voice on the phone suddenly stopped. Jillian was confused and began to panic. What happened on Weibo? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 4: The Poor Man Driving a Maybach. Could it be that someone has revealed that she is Lin Chen's ex-girlfriend? Jillian's face suddenly changed. If that's the case, she would lose face. Then, she quickly went to Weibo and clicked on the hot search list, and looked for things that her bestie asked her to see. Hot search ranking. Kai Han will play the male lead in Shanghai Fortress. What the hell is all this? Jillian was speechless. Weibo was still full of trivial matters of celebrities. But when she browsed to the 8th hot search, her body suddenly stiffened. The title that caught her eye, busy building Mechas. Is it because of this? Jillian guaranteed that the content would definitely be related to Lin Chen, but her intuition told her that her bestie just wanted her to see the content here. For some reason, the uneasiness in her heart became stronger. Because this title seemed wrong. She quickly clicked in, and the content that caught her eye was: is it a real mecha or a special effect? The following is the video content. In the first shot, it should be an empty warehouse, with a fighter-style mecha in the middle with an industrial aesthetic. Then Lin Chen appeared in the camera. He rode on the mecha in special clothes, operated it for a while, and then the mecha began to react, and then flew out. Fuck, what did I see? Jillian was stunned, and continued to watch excitedly. The mecha has infinitely stimulated the blood and desire in her heart. Especially when she saw the mecha turned into a human form, Jillian's excitement was beyond words. This is the real mecha, nothing else. Later, Jillian finally understood why that good ghost mother called her before. I am so blind. For a mere Maybach driver, I dumped the mecha driver. Jillian was so depressed that she wanted to vomit blood. Compared with a Maybach driver and a mecha driver, the two are not at the same level at all. After the video was played, it was time to comment. Fuck, he actually transformed. I watched it 5 times, so handsome, it's a magic weapon for picking up girls. Is this really the Lin Chen that the whole network has slandered? It seems that he is right to be busy making Mechas. Damn, yesterday there was a topic of a stupid big V that almost made me believe it. Suddenly a useful comment came into view, and Jillian's body froze again. Then she quickly exited and entered the Weibo homepage to delete yesterday's topic, otherwise she might be sprayed with shit, because the topic above was celebrating how good she was at identifying pearls. But when she entered the homepage, she found that her friends' comments, which were originally celebrating her finding a Maybach boyfriend, were now all slanderous and mocking. Are you blind? Dumped a mecha driver for a Maybach driver. Awesome, please help Jillian's psychological shadow. I have been clean, please give me Lin Chen's address, I want to communicate with him for 3 days and 3 nights. The ridicule of Lin Chen on the internet has ceased. No one is slandering a person who can build Mechas anymore, because the previous remarks were so radical, and now they're so embarrassing. Jillian was in no mood to continue watching at this time. She collapsed on the chair powerlessly, staring at the ceiling above her head in a daze, her heart full of regret and pain. What kind of stupid things did she do for a poor guy who drove a Maybach? It's all over in the future. Even if she doesn't understand Mechas anymore, she understands one thing. Maybachs are rare, but Mechas are almost non-existent. They are objects that cannot be built, but Lin Chen actually built them. She dumped a mecha driver for a mere Maybach driver. The poor guy who drove a Maybach is not worthy of her at all. He must love me and wanted to give me a surprise, so he didn't tell me before. Jillian suddenly jumped up from the chair, took out a mobile phone and called Lin Chen. It was only when she dialed that she found that the other party had already blocked her. I'm so stupid. For a poor guy driving a Maybach, I dumped a tall, rich and handsome guy driving a mecha. Jillian sat on the ground and howled miserably. It was all her fault that she couldn't resist the temptation of the poor guy driving a Maybach. Here, Lin Chen's family was still eating lunch. They knew something about the outside world. Since the video was released, there was no voice on the entire network to slander Lin Chen. It was too late to curry favor with him. Father Lin said casually, "This morning, your uncle called and said that someone wanted to buy your mecha for 50 million. The table was very quiet, without any changes. It was just a very ordinary number. 50 million seemed to be a lot, but it was not. Whether it was for Lin Chen's family or his grandfather's family, it was only 1 or 2 years of income. Not selling." Lin Chen answered without thinking. "What do you think?" Father Lin continued to ask. "I have my own plan." Lin Chen's words were vague. In fact, his best idea was that Wang's empire could give him a research base. Only in that way would all kinds of materials be in constant supply, and he could also have his own power. After lunch, Lin Chen returned to his room and opened the attribute panel. Host: Lin Chen. Task 1. The college entrance examination is over, completed, please collect the reward. Task 2. Make mecha, progress 71%, Task 3. Stop the invasion of monsters and crush them. Fan value: 125 million. Lin Chen's body suddenly stiffened. How long has it been, and he has more than 1 million fans? If he continues to develop at this speed and earns more fans in the future, the technical information of skeleton exomecha, single soldier combat mecha, etc. will not be far away. In fact, the technology of single soldier combat mecha is the technology that Lin Chen values most. A single soldier wearing a multifunctional protective mecha is clearly a simplified version of a humanoid tank. Then Lin Chen prepared to collect the reward. Ding, get posture expertise, stance expertise. Lin Chen was puzzled. Immediately afterwards, there seemed to be more posture experience in his mind, which seemed to be innate and not unfamiliar. Lin Chen closed his eyes and felt the sudden reward for a while. Not long after, when he opened his eyes again, he had become an experienced driver who could show off in any environment. In the afternoon, Lin Chen unexpectedly received news from his uncle that he had become a hot search on the internet again. It was still about the topic of mecha, but there were already differences. Some people thought that the video was real, while others thought it was synthesized by special effects, and the rules of the analysis by a certain expert were clear. This is the internet. From the major events of the Wangxi Empire to the minor events of eating and shitting, any piece of news can cause countless netizens to curse at each other. Only some forums are harmonious, all of which are may the host be safe all his life and thank you for the seeds. Unfortunately, Lin Chen's mecha is not suitable for appearing in some forums. So it also caused netizens to curse at each other. After hearing this news, Lin Chen smiled. No matter how the internet quarrels, the biggest benefit is still oneself, because only when the fame is greater, there will be more and more fans. When he turned on the computer and entered Weibo, he saw a series of sarcasm. This liar. The experts have discovered his true colors, right? Lin Chen did not explain much about the malicious slander on the internet. He also knew that even if his hands were trained to be as strong as those without a girlfriend, it would be useless. He could never compete with the ubiquitous keyboard warriors. He smiled and turned off the computer, letting the ridicule on the internet continue to ferment. One day, the facts will make these people speechless. 2 days later. In Warehouse No. 3, the music broadcast of Jinshi sounded, and Lin Chen was happily optimizing the internal circuits of the mecha. Father Lin walked in and said, "Your mother just went to your grandmother's house. You can order takeout for lunch. It's rare that your mother is not here. I'm going out for a drink." Suddenly, the radio music stopped abruptly, and a temporary broadcast was made. The Dagi bridge collapsed unexpectedly just now. Please take a deep breath. Relevant departments are organizing rescue. Father Lin was stunned and frowned and said, "You can just use the mecha to save people and create an impact on the internet. Jinshi is a city traversed by the Heihe River, and the bridge is the only way to enter and exit the city. If a bridge just collapsed, it is conceivable that many people will be killed." "Well, I understand." Lin Chen changed his flight uniform and goggles in a very short time, jumped onto the mecha, operated the indicator a few times, the nuclear reactor ignited, and the inflation chamber reacted. With a whoosh, Lin Chen rushed out with the mecha with a blue tail flame. This time the mecha will be exposed, which has brought the ridicule on the internet to a freezing point. Although the fermentation effect has not yet reached the point where everyone knows about it, Lin Chen can just take this opportunity to stand up and spread the news. Chapter 5 I think I can do it. A huge shadow cut through the sky above Jinshi, rushing towards the north at a very fast speed. Only after a closer look can you see that it is a mecha made of steel cutting through the sky, majestic and with people on it. On the ground, many people looked towards the direction where the mecha left in the north, and in the blink of an eye, it was already a blur of black spots. At the time, the Gi Bridge, a famous attraction in Jinshi, had collapsed, and the densely packed survivors in the Heihe River continued to struggle. Dear audience, a major accident occurred in our city today, and the bridge collapsed. Fortunately, rescue departments from all sides of the empire rushed to the scene at a very fast speed. Let's take a closer look at the specific situation. Reporter Wakalo, as a model reporter in the city, was the first to rush to the scene. She brought the photographer to the official who was organizing the rescue. The official was sweating profusely. He wiped the sweat off his face and said, "All departments are actively cooperating, but there are too many victims. The rescue was progressing slowly. Pedestrians are easy to rescue. The most difficult thing at present is that 56 vehicles have fallen into the water." After that, he quickly took off his clothes and jumped directly into the Heihe River. For a time, except for the noisy sound on the water, the police on both sides of the strait and the crowd watching the excitement were silent. Even the Wangxi officials jumped into rescue. The situation does not seem optimistic. If you delay for one more second, there may be victims drowned in the Heihe River. Just when the rescue of various departments was slow, a sharp sound of breaking through the air suddenly came from the sky. Many people subconsciously looked up at the sky, guessing that the Wang's Empire must have sent a helicopter to rescue. However, the next second, swoosh, a small black dot in the sky was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye it had appeared above the Heihe River. Lin Chen pulled up the joystick with both hands, and the fighter plane form turned into a human form in full view of the public. The domineering posture in the void gave people a shocking visual effect. The crowds on both sides of the river woke up from their sluggish state and were in an uproar. Fuck, what is that? What a cool mecha. Isn't that the mecha that people are arguing about on Weibo? Then the crowd took all kinds of photos and live broadcasts. After all, this is a real mecha, not the so-called special effects synthesis by experts and professors. Reporter Kaluo's mouth also turned into an odd shape. Mecha? A real mecha? Suddenly, her face changed drastically, wondering if the willful Lin Chen was sitting in it. But then again, this mecha is really cool. Just when people were still in shock, Lin Chen looked at the chaotic scene in the humanoid mecha above the Yuhai River. So he took a deep breath and drove the mecha into the river. What is going on? The police who came over saw such a shocking scene as soon as they got off the car. They really felt the oppression brought by the huge mecha man, and couldn't help swallowing their saliva when facing the 3-story high robot. That robot went into the river. What should the captain do? Said the subordinate. The middle-aged police officer remained silent. What should we do? It was still unknown whether the small pistol on his waist could have a deterrent effect on a 3-story high robot. Fuck, the mecha went into the river. The young policeman was shocked. Is it preparing to help? The middle-aged police officer frowned, knowing very well what kind of power this mecha would bring once it helped. It can easily pick up the vehicles that fell into the river one by one. At this moment of great attention, Lin Chen drove the mecha slowly into the river. The river water was up to his waist. Fortunately, he was rewarded with driving proficiency, so it was just to pick up the car in the river. It was not difficult for Lin Chen or the mecha. The mecha has a thrust of 158 kN and can easily pick up a car from the Heihe River. The rescue team on the river shouted. Now those people who can't get out of the car can be saved. A black BMW was fished out of the river, and the person was already unconscious. A red Ferrari was fished out, and the person was already unconscious. The rescue team was so shocked that they were numb, and they were so shocked that they couldn't shift their sights from the mecha. Once this mysterious mecha appeared, it solved the biggest problem on the scene. After a while, Lin Chen couldn't fish out the car in the river. The hatch on the chest of the mecha opened, and Lin Chen stood up in the cockpit, staring at the water. So handsome. Hero, he saved my wife, I must let my old man and my daughter marry him. The people and their families shouted loudly, offering all kinds of praise without hesitation. Lin Chen suddenly shouted to the other side of the river. Are there any more vehicles that fell into the water? No, the number is just right. It would be better if we could arrive a few minutes earlier. There are several citizens in the car who were unfortunate. A police officer on the opposite side answered loudly. After saying this, Lin Chen felt a little uncomfortable. Reporter Kaluo excitedly ran under the mecha, raised her head and smiled. Hello, classmate Lin Chen, we meet again. I didn't expect that you were really making a mecha. It's hard to imagine that you can make a mecha that our country can't make. I saw someone making a mecha in an animation, and I think I can do it too. Lin Chen saw that this beautiful woman looked familiar, so he answered casually. Then can you come down for an interview? Kaluo's face flashed an unnatural look. What kind of logic is this? But she was still excited. Being rich, handsome, handing in a blank paper in the college entrance examination, and making MKs, all of these put together are big news. Of course, it would be even better if we could have a deeper understanding. Let's talk about it later. Then, driving the mecha once again shocked the crowd, and turned into a fighter jet and flew away. Kaluo breathed quickly, so angry. The next day, the internet exploded again. If the video Lin Chen posted before was suspected of special effects synthesis, then the videos that people started to upload one after another since yesterday, the content is similar without exception, so the rhythm of most netizens being misled began to waver. Is this not enough? It doesn't matter, the mobile phone live broadcast and Jinshi News can also testify, these are all real, so those so-called experts and professors stopped clamoring and suddenly lost their temper. Weibo, Bilibili, forums, and Type have become a mess. It's actually a real mecha. Fuck, driving a mecha to save people? The brothers in Jinchi saw it with their own eyes. It's a real mecha. The whole network is boiling, and all the topics are centered around Mechas. The topic of Linmeng University at this time is also centered around Mechas. Is this high school graduate named Lin Chen eligible to be admitted to the university in advance as an exception? The voice of the president of Linmeng University echoed in a huge conference room. The problem now is that he doesn't go to university. The vice president seconded. Our Linmeng University is the best and most desirable university. If Lin Chen is not stupid, he will definitely change his mind and come to Linmeng University. A leader of the school said proudly. Then everyone laughed, and laughed very easily. Linmeng University has a profound foundation. As long as there is a letter of admission, no one can resist the temptation of Linmeng University. Chapter 6. Legion coming. Many universities in Wang's Empire are still discussing the meeting about Mecha and Lin Chen. But these universities are all still waiting and watching, thinking that it is not too late to express their opinions after collecting more useful information about Lin Chen and Mecha. On the other side, Jiuzhou Province. Among them, Zili Military University in Jiuzhou City is a university that is neither 985 nor 211. The corps commander Liang Shizong, who was the president of the university at the time, was the first to express his opinion at the meeting, and said in a deep voice, "Everyone knows the specific situation. Tell us your opinions. It's incredible. Everyone knows the authenticity of the Mecha, but he said that if he doesn't go to university, how can we invite him?" The vice president pushed his eyes and smiled. "Not going to university doesn't mean we can't win him over." Liang Shizong said. "That's right, our university needs such talents." As a result of some discussions, in order to show enough sincerity and avoid being preempted by other universities, the 4th Corps Commander and President of Zili Military University Liang Shizong led the team to prepare today and personally led the team to Jinchi tomorrow to extend an olive branch. On the other side, Lin Chen's attention has been on the system panel. Since the incident of saving people in Heihe River, his fan value has exceeded 2 million. Although it is lower than those of actors and stars, it also made Lin Chen excited for a long time, because 2 million fans is the minimum standard for system exchange. Open the system mall. 3D technology. 2 million fans biochemical culture tank. 50 million fans T-600 robot. 300 million fans T-800 robot. 600 million fans T-1000 robot. 1 billion fans. The system mall is all-encompassing, with many shocking technologies. Unfortunately, with Lin Chen's current ability, he can only exchange the cheapest 3D technology, which can be used for on-site simulation, data calculation, etc. I can only exchange you. Lin Chen chose image processing technology. Later, Lin Chen relied on the system to secrete the item into his brain, so he quickly became familiar with the technology. In the afternoon, 50% of the image processing technology was completed. Late at night, the image processing technology was completely completed. With this image processing technology, I will be more familiar with the manufacture of Mechas in the future. Start. Lin Chen stared at a pair of dark circles and turned on a screen. Image processing technology is equivalent to being able to perform 3D splitting of the mecha on the image. For example, the mecha is a whole, and Lin Chen can split the mecha on the image, observe the part structure, and measure data. Of course, it can also be used for certain purposes. For example, when watching certain movies, you can use image processing technology to arrange your favorite actions at will, so that you will no longer be lonely in the long night. The moment the image processing technology is turned on, an image of a mecha appears on the screen. With a light stroke of the hand, the image of the mecha is immediately split and viewed at will. Lin Chen smiled with satisfaction, and then fell asleep on the mecha. The next day, a team composed of Zili Military University came to Lin Chen's home. Soldiers. Lin Chen's father and Lin Chen were stunned. Why did a soldier suddenly come to their house, and the other party's clothes were obviously of high rank? But why did they come here? Could it be that building a mecha is illegal and even the military was alarmed? Hello, I'm Liang Shizong, the commander of the 4th Army and the president of Zili Military University. This is. Liang Shizong introduced himself. Hello, the purpose of your visit to my house is. Lin's father was nervous, and he did not dare to neglect it. These people are more powerful than each other, especially the commander of the 4th Army. We come here with no ill intentions. We want to invite Lin Chen to be a professor at Zili Military University. Liang Shizong said. He has been fiddling with the mecha in the warehouse all night. I guess he just woke up now. Well, can you introduce us? We have no ill intentions. Liang Shizong said. It's okay. Lin's father nodded, and he couldn't help but feel good about Liang Shizong. Then, he hurried into warehouse No. 3 and was about to call Lin Chen, but he was stunned by the scene in front of him. On a screen full of high technology, one of the miniature humanoid Mechas was the most conspicuous, full of violent aesthetics and clear skeleton line armor, and there were more weapons on the wings behind it. In short, it was very cool, more like a battlefield harvester. The most important thing is that the image is controlled by Lin Chen's hand. If this is used, oh my god, it's so exciting. Great, my son. I know your dad likes to look at photos. Your dad likes this gift very much. Son, is this made for me? Father Lin recovered from his trance and looked happy. Lin Chen. Oh, yes, we have guests at home. That's it. Father Lin told Liang Shizong and others the purpose of coming. Lin Chen took a look and saw the so-called guests. At this time, Liang Shizong and others were deeply shocked by Lin Chen's right hand as soon as they entered the warehouse. Unbelievable. What kind of technology is this? Fuck, this is image processing technology, so awesome, but I can't understand it at all. Help me sit down for a while, I'm so excited that I can't breathe. The whole scene was in chaos and full of horror. Image processing technology, with the current level of our empire, will take at least 100 years to be fully realized, but now, unbelievable. Liang Shizong took a deep breath, suppressed his emotions, and looked at Lin Chen with a changed look, full of intense passion. He thought that having a mecha was already a pleasant surprise, but he never thought that there would be an unexpected surprise. And all this was done by this young man. The small team he led had their mouths turned into a knot shape, not daring to touch it, but also wanting to study the principle in their hearts. I thought I was in a science fiction movie. The Wang's Empire is lucky, the Wang's Empire is lucky. After watching this image processing technology, I feel that the image processing technology I have studied for 10 years is shit. There are many academicians in various fields of military industry in the small team, which is such a group of knowledge reserves. But the more you look at it, the more frightened you are. This technology seems to be very powerful, but you can't understand it at all. I don't understand anything at all. The engineering academician of Zerli Military University is an old man with white hair and beard. At the time, his eyes were wide open, and his trembling body fell to the ground with a thump. There was another round of confusion. Liang Shizong suppressed his shock and asked, "Did you really do this?" Lin Chen nodded. Liang Shizong was excited and asked, "You're indeed a genius of the Wang's Empire. I have seen it in the video. This mecha can also transform. Can you tell me how it transforms? Can I touch it with my hands?" Liang Shizong asked carefully. Lin Chen nodded, indicating that it was okay, and then said, "This mecha uses the 9th generation atomic reactor technology, inflatable chamber technology, anti-gravity technology, and neural interaction technology. Do you understand?" "Well, it seems that I understand." Chapter 7. Do I look like a fool? Liang Shizong blushed, regretting asking the genius about the technology. Now, let alone understanding, he felt that he was inexplicably awesome and powerful even though he had never heard of it. He asked again, "When was this mecha made?" 3 years ago, the facilities were not complete, and there were always delays due to some details. Lin Chen said. Liang Shizong nodded, and he was quite satisfied with the time. This advanced mecha should have been made over time. What about this? Liang Shizong pointed to the screen of image processing technology again. I made it yesterday afternoon and worked until late at night to complete it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to sleep directly in the warehouse. Lin Chen answered casually. Everyone in the small team. It was made in less than a day. Damn it. How can the scientific research teams of the 5 major empires in the world still have the face to live? Did everyone study the project for half a lifetime and study it on docs? This speed and technology are really, if you don't see it with your own eyes, no one will believe it if it is spread out. Suddenly, everyone's eyes focused on Liang Shizong, as if reminding him of some important signals. Liang Shizong straightened his face, stood up straight, and said seriously, "Student Lin Chen, I now invite you in the name of the 4th Corps and Zerli Military University, hoping that you can join the 4th Corps and Zerli Military University." The originally shocked atmosphere in the warehouse suddenly became serious. Everyone's eyes were full of heat. Once a talent like Lin Chen joined them, it would be a blessing for the Empire, but if he joined Linmeng University, it would be a misfortune for the Empire, because Linmeng University has always been training talents for other empires. Thank you for the Empire's attention, but I have a condition. Lin Chen smiled, and now it was time for negotiation. The set goal will soon be achieved. You said, we will do our best to satisfy you. Liang Shizong's attitude was sincere. As long as he could retain such a genius, he would sell everything he had. Besides, he was just a young man, what excessive demands could he have? It was nothing more than buying a yacht, eating and drinking, and playing with a few women. As long as he wanted to play, Liang Shizong could find a lot of women, from stewardesses to nurses in all walks of life. I need the following conditions. Lin Chen set a few conditions in his mind. A base, a scientific research team, and no constraints on oneself, that's all. No problem. Liang Shizong said in a deep voice. This is not a bottom line. They want to win over Lin Chen and help the Empire research military industry, such as combat weapons such as Mechas. Its specific data is Liang Shizong asked. What do you think of its actual effect? Lin Chen smiled faintly. Liang Shizong and others were silent. They had done many deductions when they came. There is no doubt that the advent of Mechas will change the pattern of the previous battlefield. Mechas can flexibly support any battlefield in the air and can also play any type of arms. Liang Shizong is quite accomplished in military affairs and knows what the results of the emergence of Mechas mean. Mechas can be used for rescue and escort. Once they have formed on a large scale, they will be light cavalry on the battlefield, harvesters of ground forces, and low-altitude patrollers. Mechas can even form a powerful firepower network and easily intercept any supersonic fighter. Do you have anything else to ask? Lin Chen asked. No more. Everyone was lost and frustrated. Although they didn't understand anything, they would not ask even if Lin Chen begged them to ask. Otherwise, they would be like Liang Shizong, who didn't understand anything. But even so, everyone couldn't help but be curious. What was the driving force behind Lin Chen's creation of such a contemporary mecha? Could it really be the saying I can make Mechas by watching anime? At this time, an academician asked curiously, what is the energy problem of Mechas? If I say that there are some serious problems involved, will you arrest me? Lin Chen looked at Liang Shizong. Just kidding, your importance to the Empire is self-evident. Liang Shizong laughed. Lin Chen said, use the 9th generation atomic reactor. Everyone was stunned. Liang Shizong immediately scolded in a deep voice, don't spread it out. Everyone knew that the 9th generation atomic reactor technology would be very advanced, but the bigwigs in the scientific community present understood one thing. It has already involved the Empire's Axis fuel. Academician Sunday looked cautious and asked in a low voice. Old Wang, this thing. I've heard about it a long time ago. Someone bought it privately from waste materials a long time ago. We don't care about that as scientific researchers. Some places have been in chaos for a long time. It seems that if it weren't for the chaos, there might not be the birth of Mecha today. The reason why Lin Chen dared to present all the information was that he knew the importance of Mecha. A nuclear fuel and a scientist who could make Mecha. In contrast, Axis 235 would make the Empire turn a blind eye. After a long time, he said again, the cost and materials required to build a Mecha are astronomical. I rely on my family background and various frugality to make today's progress. Can you afford the manufacturing of Mecha? Liang Shizong gritted his teeth and said, yes, I will report to the Emperor. As long as it can be mass-produced, it is not a problem to dismantle the warships of the 3rd Legion. Afterwards, Liang Shizong and others were amazed again, and then left with an unsatisfied mentality. This time, the meeting ended perfectly. Liang Shizong did not return directly to Jiuzhou province, but drove north and went to the capital alone to meet the Emperor. The residence of the Emperor of Wang's Empire is a manor. The Emperor Jiangmen is a very easygoing middle-aged man. He has neither a majestic figure nor a heroic appearance. His 2 sword-like eyebrows drooped weakly. It can be seen that he is a patient. His pale face is the best proof, but his eyes are full of deep wisdom and fatigue, as if he has seen through everything. Is there something wrong? Jiangmen was concentrating on watering the flower bed. It's a big thing. Liang Shizong glanced at the man of Villa. Jiangmen followed his gaze and saw that his 3 children did not take it to heart. He said, is it that the surname Yang can't sit still, or is the elders meeting making trouble again? You tell me. Neither, it's like this. Liang Shizong told everything he saw and heard and the agreement reached with Lin Chen. The matter is indeed incredible and hard to convince, but it is the fact. Jiang Minjiwan looked very serious at first, but when Liang Shizong finished speaking, he had already turned into a humanoid mecha that can fly, transform, and easily kill tanks. And the image processing technology that the Empire has not yet realized. All of this was created by a young man who was too busy making chase and had no time to go to college. Do I look like a fool? Jiang Minjiwan stopped watering the flower bed and looked at the other party in surprise. Chapter 8 Imperial Official News. Not to mention that he believed it. Even if he told anyone else, they would never believe it. If there really was such a powerful high school student, the Wangzi Empire would have been in the sky long ago. It's all true. I brought the information. Take a look. Liang Shizong turned on the computer he carried with him. There was all the information about Lin Chen. Jiang Minjiwan frowned. When a series of information was presented in front of him, the expression on his face became richer. Shocked. Are the young people in the Empire so powerful now? Building mecha and image processing technology is like playing. It's incredible. Jiang Minjiwan's old face suddenly turned red. He felt that he was not a fool, but a real fool. He didn't even know that there was such a genius in the Wangzi Empire. His request. Liang Shizong said. All are met. This person will be the pillar of the Empire in the future. In addition, Xia is with you. Arranged for Xia to take care of him more. Jiang Minjiwan looked at Lin Chen's identity information and nodded. A clean family is the best. Let the princess use the beauty trick to win people's hearts. Liang Shizong was surprised. It seemed so exciting. Xia's medical skills are good. I mean, let Xia pay attention to his health. Jiang Minjiwan took a deep breath and clenched his fist quietly. It was clearly an expression of restraint. As a father, how could he let his daughter use her physical advantage to win people's hearts? Liang Shizong looked embarrassed and said, I will send the elite troops to protect him when I go back. Lin Chen didn't know all this. On Saturday morning, he was called by his uncle Ma Jian to go on a blind date. In his words, since he didn't go to school, he was not young anymore. It was time to talk about marriage. The woman was said to be the only daughter of a well-known company in the city. The blind date was held in a Chinese restaurant. In order to save face for his elders, Lin Chen finally agreed to go and take a look. In the morning, he rode a shared bicycle to the agreed location. In the Chinese restaurant, Ma Jian was chatting and laughing with the father and daughter across from him. Suddenly, he saw Lin Chen parking his bicycle outside the glass window, so he turned his head and smiled. Boss Liu, that's my eldest nephew. He's very handsome, smart, and he built one himself in his family's steel plant. You said that his family has a steel plant worth tens of millions. Boss Ma interrupted Ma Jian's introduction with a calm face. On one side, the woman's eyes shifted from the news on the TV, and then her eyebrows slightly frowned, as if she had a bad impression of Lin Chen in her heart. Although this Lin Chen is very handsome, he can't change the fact that he is late, rides a bicycle, and has a poor family that runs a steel plant. Are these worthy of showing off? He is not in the same circle as me. Lin Chen entered the restaurant, looked around, and walked over here. Ma Jian introduced them one by one. This is Boss Liu, and this is Miss Liu. Lin Chen smiled and greeted. Later, Ma Jian started to talk endlessly. Lin Chen looked at Miss Liu twice. She was a beautiful woman with small riding boots, black stockings, a slim waist and big waves, but he just didn't feel much. Later, Ma Jian felt that he had said almost everything, so he smiled and said, Miss Liu, do you think she is suitable? I have something to do. I'll think about it when I get back. Liu smiled and declined, then pulled General Liu to stand up. At this time, the news on the TV continued. We have an amazing genius in Jinshi. His name is Lin Chen. He successfully built a mecha and officially joined the 4th Corps. He also served as a professor at Zili Military University. Perhaps this Professor Lin will open a new chapter for the Azure Star in the future. As a city that has nurtured a genius, we are very proud. The sound of the TV was not loud, but it was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. Liu and her father and daughter approached the door, paused, and then their mouths turned into a knot shape. They looked at the photos on the TV in astonishment, and then looked at Lin Chen sitting opposite them. How could this be possible? The two people are exactly the same. The poor guy who was looked down upon the previous second, but the next second he turned into an important figure in the military of the Wangzi Empire. Although she didn't understand what the mecha was, she knew one thing, that at Lin Chen's current age, he could have such a feat, so who could guarantee that the next general of the Wang's Empire would be Lin Chen? Liu felt that she was really stupid, and almost missed such a hero. Lin Chen also stood up and walked to the door, and said to Liu and his daughter who were blocking the way, that Miss Liu, right? Please make way. How about we add with chat and try to talk? Liu immediately changed her attitude, with a hint of bargain. Aren't you going home to think about it? Lin Chen asked back. No, I'm a beauty dog. In fact, I fell in love with you at first sight when I first saw you. Liu completely lost face. At this time, even if she went straight to bed with him, it would be worth it. Sorry, I have to think about it too. In fact, I'm not interested in women. Only cold and hard Mechas can interest me. Lin Chen said casually. Liu felt like she was about to suffocate. What kind of weird logic is this? Don't men like to caress soft and fragrant women? On the other side, at Jinshino 2 Middle School. After the official news was broadcast, the teachers who had originally been on vacation were urgently recalled by the principal again. This was the second time they were recalled during the vacation. The core content of the meeting was still Lin Chen from their school. At the meeting, the principal of the middle school showed the new official news to the teachers. The conference room exploded immediately. Fuck, Lin Chen became a professor directly. I have been a teacher for half my life and I have never been able to become a professor. I didn't expect, oh no. 2 Middle School is going to be great in the future. Many teachers were shocked. Lin Chen stopped being a student and became a professor directly. Lin Chen has been confirmed by the Wang's Empire. So, is his controversial mecha real? A head teacher asked the principal with a complicated heart. I think it should be. This is official news. The principal said. The class teacher was in a mess because he had been ridiculed a lot because of Lin Chen, especially since the news was broadcast. Lin Chen's willful and bold words were almost a stain on his life. If you don't want to go to college, then don't go to college. Why do you have to pretend in front of reporters that you are too busy making Mechas and have no interest in going to college? Lin Chen was having fun, but he was exposed by the whole network and even received attention from the leaders above. Now quickly remove the Weibo that the school has nothing to do with Lin Chen, and replace it with a Weibo that the school is teaching. The principal blushed. When Lin Chen was at the center of the storm, the middle school posted a Weibo to clarify the school's innocence in order to avoid becoming a target of the public. But now it seems that the school is too stupid to distance itself from a student who can build Mechas. So as the principal of the middle school, in the face of ironclad evidence, he suddenly changed from a camp of shame to a camp of pride. As long as the publicity is proper that Lin Chen is a student of the second middle school, the school will really be on the rise in the future. Immediately afterwards, the second middle school quickly deleted the previously published Weibo post, and then after negotiation and exaggeration, a Weibo post was published that shows the middle school's good intentions towards Lin Chen, and acted many other middle schools in the city in preparation for showing off. Chapter 9. Mechas are the best way to pick up girls. Luxury cars are just, click to post a new Weibo message. All the other middle schools mentioned by Jinshino 2 Middle School have witnessed this shameful scene. The previous Weibo post that distanced itself from Lin Chen has disappeared. The new Weibo post now is about how No 2 Middle School taught Lin Chen. Unfortunately, other middle schools really have no way to deal with it. Who told him that Lin Chen did graduate from No 2 Middle School? But now the No 2 Middle School is just too disgusting. Didn't you say you were ashamed of Lin Chen? See? No 2 Middle School is really shameless. The previous topic of distance itself from each other is gone. Fuck, do you still have shame? Didn't you say a while ago that Lin Chen was not from your school? Below No 2 Middle School were all ridiculed by other middle schools, but they all knew that No 2 Middle School had a genius in building Mechas. As for the reason why Lin Chen could build Mechas, it was all because of No 2 Middle School's teachings. If it was really that awesome, why did No 2 Middle School's performance always rank last in the city, even worse than the town middle schools? As time went on, the official news of the Wang's Empire began to spread across the country. More and more people have seen the reposts and reposts on their respective social platforms, and they all know about the Wang's Empire's confirmation of Lin Chen. Many people are shocked. The mecha that is still controversial is actually real. The news about Lin Chen also reached the ears of the other two major forces in the Empire, but both the Elders Council and the Empire's Ministry Yang Ming chose to remain silent. At the same time, other universities in the Wangxi Empire paid attention to this matter, and then exploded, and they all wanted to get Lin Chen into the university at all costs. At the meeting of Linmeng University, the vice president looked at the TV in shock, and said to himself, it turns out that he really became a professor at Zili Military University. The principal's face was gloomy, gritting his teeth, and said, damn it, that Lin Chen actually went to a third-rate university and didn't come to our Linmeng University. Soon, the whole Linmeng University became lively. I think he just looks down on our Linmeng University. No, he should have cheated Lin Chen by giving him a professorship. Yes, that must be the case. We don't believe that we will give him the title of Associate Academician. Lin Chen will not come to our Linmeng University. The atmosphere at the meeting was very heated, and everyone thought that Lin Chen was cheated by Zili Military University. After a brief discussion, it was decided that the president of Linmeng University would personally lead the team to Jinchi in a few days. I believe that Lin Chen will definitely give up Zili Military University and choose Linmeng University. Before leaving, the president slapped the table with a solemn oath and boasted, Zili Military University is nothing. In terms of qualifications, level, and funds, our Linmeng University is far better than Zili Military University. This time I will be a wolf from the north. As long as I go to Lin Chen's house, I can bring him back with a few words. This is not only the confidence of the university president, but also the strong confidence of Linmeng University. The next morning, Lin Chen still had to conduct a test flight. Since he obtained the driving expertise, he felt that driving a mecha was as simple as eating and drinking water. He sat on the mecha and checked the system panel, saying, the fan value has increased by 4 million. It turns out that cooperating with Empire is the best choice. Little boss, the warehouse door is open. The two workers shouted anxiously, as if they wanted to kick Lin Chen twice and make him fly quickly so that they could enjoy the sight. Lin Chen nodded, took a deep breath of air, leaned forward, and operated the indicator a few times. The reactor ignited. The inflatable chamber began to react. The shocked eyes of the two workers were filled with shock and excitement, watching the mecha slowly fly out. The mecha flew out of the warehouse. Lin Chen took a deep breath of air again, stepped lightly, and twisted the handle with his right hand. Swoosh! The mecha in the form of a fighter rushed into the sky with a blue air tail. After a while, it flew back. That night, a mecha video was once again wildly circulated on the internet. Countless netizens clicked on the video, and then they were quiet, staring at the mecha on the screen in a daze. The mighty and domineering shape was deeply imprinted in everyone's heart and could not be erased. After a long time, the crowd exploded and left messages on Weibo. "Are so handsome. I've been riding women for half my life, and I thought I was very manly, but now I realize that riding a woman every day is not a skill, only riding a mecha is a skill, and only a real man is. This is a real man. A real man should drive a mecha. What's the skill of driving a luxury car?" The main topic of discussion tonight is undoubtedly the topic of mecha. Even the official Weibo of the famous female model of the Empire said that Lin Chen is the man who deserves it. Even as long as Lin Chen can drive a mecha to take them flying in the sky, any rude request of his can be met. After receiving this news, many rich second generations and official second generations were collectively black-faced. Could it be that Mechas will be the real tool for picking up girls in the future? What's the point of buying luxury cars in the future? Immediately afterwards, the content in the video reached the most exciting part. The mecha transformed. A super cool humanoid mecha in the sky. At this moment, almost everyone's heart was ignited at once, especially the strong visual impact before, which was almost suffocating. Driving a mecha is what a real man should do. When the 8-meter-high humanoid mecha appeared, all netizens were silent. Damn, this must be a magic weapon for picking up girls. The second generation of rich people and officials felt very sad. Because of Lin Chen's appearance, the luxury cars they were proud of almost became a pile of copper and iron, and no one was interested in them. Now everyone began to envy Mechas, and it would no longer revolve around luxury cars. So angry. How can I hook up with beautiful girls in the future? What if people only ride Mechas in the future? The video was played until the end, and many people blinked their dry eyes with unsatisfied feelings. Is it over? I want to watch it for a while longer, it's so cool. I can see the mecha with my own eyes in my lifetime, I can brag about it for the rest of my life. I want a mecha, I will never like women in my life. Please, my wife wants to divorce me, saying that only men who drive Mechas can make her feel safe. On the internet, most people have roughly the same thoughts, and they want to feel the charm of Mechas for a while longer. However, at this moment, a text appeared on the video again. Lin Chen's Weibo account, DA that 20th, will release detailed explanations of Mechas from time to time, and there will not be only this one mecha. You can also see that the mecha has no weapons. Seeing this scene, the faces of those rich second generations and official second generations darkened again, and they couldn't help but feel hatred in their hearts. Cardo, does this shameless guy want to completely offend all the rich second generations and official second generations in the Wangxi Empire? Chapter 10 Famous universities offer attractive conditions. Then, many netizens immediately frantically searched for the ID Big 20 to went to Lin Chen's Weibo, clicked to follow and left messages. Fuck, is the Third World War going to break out? Mechas are the main weapons of future wars. I want to drive a mecha. I don't have any great skills, but I'm very good at driving a mecha. Can I drive a mecha as long as I apply for Zili Military University? Netizens are about to explode at this moment. As long as they think of the Empire's Mecha Corps appearing on the battlefield in the future and harvesting the lives of the enemies, they feel very excited, passionate, and monkey-silly. Many people secretly swear in their hearts that men should apply for Zili Military University to write Mechas, which is what men should do. As for women, can women bring passion and exhilaration to men? No. Only Mechas can satisfy your men's pleasures and desires for conquest. In the afternoon, a black commercial vehicle drove towards Jinshi. The vice president of Linmeng University sat in the back seat of the car and said with reluctance, "Damn it, what is Zili Military University? How dare it snatch people from Linmeng University? Don't panic, we have a chance. The development potential of Linmeng University is beyond the reach of any university in Wangxi Empire." The president of Linmeng University in the co-pilot seat smiled confidently. Linmeng University is one of the key universities in Wangxi Empire, while Zili Military University is just a mediocre university in the empire. Compared with the two, the former can be described as a first-tier city, while the latter is just a poor mountain village. As long as Lin Chen is not stupid, he will know how to choose. But what if he doesn't come? The vice president asked back. Don't worry, he's just a young man with blood and vigor. If he doesn't come, we can pick a few school beauties for him to be students. By then, he will understand the meaning. The principal smiled. It is absolutely impossible to deal with a young man like Lin Chen who is full of blood and vigor. You can only cater to his preferences. Several people in the car felt ashamed of themselves. As expected of the principal, such a trick is a temptation that men can hardly refuse, especially for a young man like Lin Chen who is full of vigor and vitality. At this age, he is the least immune to the opposite sex. After a while, after a series of registrations, he drove to the door of warehouse No. 3 inches the steel plant. As long as Lin Chen can enter Linmeng University, once the mecha is mass-produced in the future, the credit will be part of ours. Everyone must show the momentum of our Linmeng University. The principal cheered up the teams that came with him before getting off the car. The group was instantly full of fighting spirit. They thought it was a great honor for Lin Chen to come to his home and invite him personally, so everyone's momentum rose sharply. However, when they got off the car and were taken to the living room, they were all stunned. Why are there so many people? The principal's face was not very good. Those people seem to be from Luzhou and Beijing universities. Yes, that's right, they are the two universities. Listening to his subordinate pointing fingers at someone, the president of Linmeng University's face darkened, and he had a vague premonition that these two groups of people were also thinking the same thing as himself. The dozen people present had similar goals, and they were ready to win over Lin Chen. Right now, Lin Chen is a hot commodity. As long as he enters a certain university, the credit for the mecha will be partly attributed to that university in the future. The people from Luzhou and Beijing universities gathered in groups of 3 or 5, talking and laughing. Although they were talking to each other, as if they were friends for many years, they were actually in a state of disharmony and insincere. Is the trash Luzhou University worthy of competing with our Shikai University? Stupid Shikai University, you have nothing better to do than to join in the fun. At this time, Lin Chen was called by Ling Qiyuan, and he was stunned when he saw that the living room at home was full of people. What do you mean? It's like this, I'm the president of Beijing University and I'm going to invite you to be the first professor of Beijing University, and the treatment will be excellent. The president of Beijing University said with a smile. I'm from Luzhou University too. In addition, as long as you are willing, our university can meet any of your requirements at any time, including daily life. The president of Luzhou University also spoke with concern, and emphasized daily life. Thank you for your kindness, but I have already promised Liang Shazthong, and it is really inconvenient to go to your university. Lin Chen smiled. Wait, as long as you go to Shikai University, you can sleep with the campus beauties and beautiful tutors as you like. The president of Shikai University was immediately anxious. Lin Chen, a local, should stay in the city, and his Mecha. My granddaughter graduated from elementary school this year. As long as she can go to Luzhou University, I will introduce my granddaughter to you. In addition, I can also invite a few sexy female stars to be your interns. Luzhou University shouted. Lin Chen took a deep breath, took out his phone with his right hand and pressed a few times, and soon dialed the number, saying, "God, please ask these people to leave, it's too noisy, it seriously affects my mentality of making Mechas." Then two guards took the presidents of the two universities and others out. Now only the people from Linmeng University were left in the living room. Lin Chen asked, "You too? Our school has invited you, and you also understand the influence of Linmeng University. Linmeng University is your best opportunity for development. Maybe you will be invited by Jianmeng Empire to exchange relevant knowledge about Mechas in the future." The president of Linmeng University smiled. Of course, our Guodo University will also offer the conditions they just offered, and the quality of our school beauties is great. The vice president spoke at the right time. You guys go too, I have no interest in your school beauties, and is the environment of our Wangzi Empire worse than that of Jianmeng Empire? Lin Chen said. University. This seems to be completely different from the set script. Shouldn't Lin Chen be happy to agree to go to Linmeng University when he heard that he could use his power to deal with the school beauties? But why? Soon, the team of Linmeng University was also invited out. The principal stood at the gate with an embarrassed look on his face. He turned around and found that the people he brought were all staring at him. He was so angry that he wanted to tear down the gate of Lin Chen's house. This was so embarrassing. To use a classic saying, before he came here, he was a wolf from the north, and he also vowed to speak at the meeting of Linmeng University. He said that as long as he arrived at Lin Chen's house, he could get him to join Linmeng University in a few words. In the end, he didn't do anything, and he was coaxed out like a dog. Thinking back to the temptation that made him feel moved just now, but in the end the other party didn't show any expression. So angry. The principal at Linmeng University was furious. "Principal, what should we do? The conditions of those universities are better than the conditions we offer," but the vice president's face was very strange. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 11. Countries around the world can't sit still. The president of Linmeng University lit a cigarette and looked at the sky melancholy. Just when the team he brought was thinking of another clever idea, he slowly said, "Since he has not come in, it is Lin Chen's loss, right?" The small team was instantly embarrassed. Why do they feel that it is all Linmeng University's loss? In the next few days, Lin Chen was determined to go to Zili Military University, so over time, other universities lost interest in recruiting Lin Chen. At the same time, when the news about the Mecha was brought abroad by reporters, it instantly caused an uproar abroad. When foreign people looked at a series of steel bodies, their first reaction was whether this was a large transformer toy made by the Wangzi Empire itself. After all, the Wangzi Empire usually does not show its mountains and waters, but the sudden appearance of a large robot is too shocking. This fact is particularly difficult for many leaders of Western powers to accept. This is definitely bad news. Although the Wangzi Empire has developed rapidly in recent years, the Western powers still have their own advantages. These advantages come from the overall situation of a country, but now the Western powers are still in the dark. The robots of the Wangzi Empire have been exposed at the press conference of the Jianmeng Empire. Your Majesty Emperor Pussy, what do you think about the Wangzi Empire manufacturing Mecha? A reporter asked. Well, anyway, our world's #1 power, the Jianmeng Empire, cannot build Mechas with current technology. Regarding the view that the Wangzi Empire manufactures Mechas, and it is made by a young man, do you believe it? The Emperor Pussy of the Jianmeng Empire asked back. The reporter showed a look of astonishment, as if there was nothing wrong with what he said. If the Jianming Empire could not build a mecha, then no country in the world could. This is an affirmation from the world's #1 power. Suddenly, the reporter seemed to understand how he should announce the mecha to the people of the Jianming Empire. The mecha is just a huge toy. What a joke! If the Wangzi Empire could manufacture toys, the Jianming Empire would have colonized the entire universe long ago. After a while, the press conference dispersed. Emperor Puxi decided to be a little worried, so he immediately set off for Cambridge University, the first university of Jianming Empire. In fact, according to the military's verification, the mecha is authentic. The reason why it was concealed from reporters is nothing more than to stabilize the superior mentality of the people of Jianming Empire. Therefore, Jianming Empire must issue a green card to the young man named Lin Chen. In this way, won't the mecha belong to Jianming Empire in the future? The next day, Emperor Puxi arrived at Cambridge University on a special plane. Oh, my emperor, long time no see. The president of Cambridge University is a middle-aged woman in her 40s. After receiving the notice from above, she took the university's senior management to greet her at the door early in the morning. Hi, Mrs. Smith, you are still as beautiful as you were at the ball 3 years ago. Emperor Puxi joked. Thank you for the compliment. When they came to Mrs. Smith's office, the man and woman began to talk about business. Mrs. Smith, I would like you to send a notice in the name of Cambridge University to invite a genius from the Wangzi Empire. No problem, no one in the world can refuse an invitation from Cambridge University. Mrs. Smith smiled and said, I wonder what kind of academic genius it is. Before that, please watch his video first. Emperor Puxi opened the notebook he brought, which contained various videos and inferred data. Wow, this Wangzi Rom is so handsome, it would be a very romantic thing if I could meet him once. Mrs. Smith smiled generously. Emperor Puxi's face was not very good. As expected of the beautiful female president of Cambridge University, she looked at things differently. Immediately after Mrs. Smith clicked to play, her charming face immediately showed seriousness, staring at the screen being played. What she was watching on the computer was a picture that made her excited, so she was focused, and focused. After a long time, the video was finished, and Mrs. Smith, the president of Cambridge University, said with an unsatisfied look, How did that handsome Lin Chen make this big toy? He has conquered me. Is this mecha authentic? Emperor Puxi asked. Is this a big toy? It must be a special effect synthesis. You can see that its background is all in the sky. Mrs. Smith smiled and shook her head. But just in case, I decided to send an invitation letter in the name of Cambridge University. With the confirmation that the mecha is a big toy, Puxi was relieved. At least the Jianming Empire is still the world's hegemon. No problem. After finishing the business, Puxi looked at the other party's clothes that set off her perfect figure, and suddenly smiled and said, Mrs. Smith, I heard that you gave birth to a baby 2 years ago. Yes. Mrs. Smith's face showed a hint of unnaturalness. Emperor Puxi suddenly became excited. According to the time of the ball and the other party's birth, there is only one conclusion, so the child is mine? I can't be sure. There were a lot of people at the ball that day, but the child's biological father must not be white, because the child is very black. Emperor Puxi looked unbelievable. It turned out that at the ball 3 years ago, there were so many people after him, both black and white. Mrs. Smith's private life is so dirty, damn, no wonder she is obviously white, but her body is so dark. Not only did the Jianming Empire respond quickly, but Lin Chen's figure also began to appear in the top leaders of other countries. This oppa is very handsome, and the mecha he built is even more handsome. There can't be such a person in the Wangzi Empire. Such a large mecha is actually from the Wangzi Empire. Samhan country is located in the vicinity of Wangxin country, and its area is only the size of a province of the Wangxin Empire. After receiving the specific information about Lin Chen, its first reaction was the same as that of the Jianming Empire, that it was absolutely false. However, with the ironclad facts before their eyes, they finally chose to believe it. However, Samhan country did not worry because its neighbor's military power was going to become stronger again. Instead, everyone was excited because this Lin Chen is so outstanding, he must be a descendant of our Samhan people. That's right, our ancestors once occupied the entire Wangxi Empire and left descendants there. I think we should apply to the World Conference and ask a genius like Lin Chen to return to his motherland, Samhan country. This is the strong self-confidence from a tiny country. No matter what it is, as long as it is something they like, they will find any iron evidence to prove the ownership of Sanhan country. Chapter 12. Always wanting to find a sense of existence. The residence of the Japanese emperor. What? The Wang's empire has Mecha? The Japanese emperor was incredulous, and felt like he was still asleep. Your Majesty, should we try to win over Lin Chen to work for our great country? The Minister of Education said. Bagger, can't you see that this is a big joy? The Japanese emperor said angrily. What if it's true? Even if it's true, he won't accept our invitation. Have you forgotten our grievances with the Wang's empire? Such a genius would never come to our country even if he went to the Jianmeng Empire. So all the countries in the world set off, and all their targets were only one, the steel plant of Lin Chen's family in Jinshi, the Wang's Empire. But there was one thing that no one dared to touch, and everything was based on the premise of Lin Chen's personal safety. At this juncture, Lin Chen's personal safety is often related to the fate of a country. At present, Lin Chen has become the object of scramble by various countries, and there is a chance that he will become a scientist in other countries, but if Lin Chen is assassinated, once the murderer is found, will the countries in the world let it go? Therefore, all countries should not only make plans, but also ensure Lin Chen's personal safety, and provide certain assistance when necessary. As time goes by, most universities in the world, following the imperial universities, began to throw out olive branches with strong temptations to Lin Chen. For example, a certain tribal country in the tropics hoped that Lin Chen could go to their country to study or teach. Of course, it would not be in vain. The princess of their country could marry Lin Chen. And Lin Chen's answers were all very straightforward, and all of them were rejected with righteous words. Except for the Sanhan country, which was still clamoring that Lin Chen must return to his motherland, there were almost no countries that would invite Lin Chen. And today, a large number of fully armed troops, police and armed police quickly surrounded Lin Chen's home and surrounded it. Pa Wang's empire officer in camouflage uniforms came to Lin Chen with a guard, saluted a standard military salute, and said solemnly, "Hello, Professor Lin, I'm Lin Chen of the 20 Unit of the 4th Corps, the official commander, and I have been ordered to escort you safely to Jijie City." "You escort me safely?" Lin Chen put away the virtual technology. "Yes, the Empire has received intelligence that recently there are foreign forces targeting you and the Mecha." Lin Chen said. "Do you think it's unsafe for me to drive a Mecha?" Lin Chen asked back. "I dare not." Lin Chen kept a low profile, just because this person is too important to the military and the Empire. "Is the base ready?" Lin Chen asked again. "Okay, we can go to the Jijie City base at any time. Is tomorrow okay? I plan to say goodbye to my family." Lin Chen took a deep breath. He knew that parting with his family would change his original lifestyle. "Okay." Lin Chen nodded. After a while, he entered the No. 3-way house of Lin Chen's house. Lin Chen's eyes swept over. There were several machine tools that he couldn't understand in the huge No. 3 warehouse. Although he didn't know how to use them, the things that Lin Chen had used must be very impressive. Then he focused on the mecha parked quietly in the center of the warehouse, and was immediately shocked. This is the fighter form of the mecha. Yes, it looks mighty, domineering, and crazy cool. Lin Chen and the guards didn't know how to describe the mecha at all. At present, the mecha is similar to a fighter jet, but it is not comparable to the iron lump of a fighter jet, because this mecha can be transformed into a human form and can fly as it wants like a helicopter. "Professor, can I touch it?" Lin Chen looked at Lin Chen with hope. Without the other party's consent, he was really afraid that he would accidentally damage it. Wouldn't he become a sinner of the Empire? Lin Chen nodded in agreement. Lin Chen carefully stroked the mecha with both hands, and his expression seemed to be very enjoyable. He said, "Hiss, it is so majestic and hard, I can even feel its strength." The guard behind him swallowed his saliva. Dusk. Lin Chen's family is sitting together for dinner. The table is very quiet, because the future lifestyle will change, so it is inevitable to have a sense of separation. After a long time, Lin's mother raised her eyes and said seriously, "Lin Chen, when you go out, leave yourself some untold skills." Lin Chen looked up. "Son, your intelligence is fine, and your charm is also a problem. Your mother's intention is to leave yourself a means of survival and keep the most important technology, so that no one can do anything to you." Lin Hankyu explained. "Well, I understand." Lin Ching nodded, thinking of his parents' teachings in his heart, that unimportant technology can be passed on, and the most important technology must be firmly grasped in his hands. Turn on the TV and watch the news. Lin's mother really couldn't eat, so she found an excuse. The TV was turned on, and the news broadcast was broadcasting. Good evening, everyone. According to the Sanhan media, Sanhan country has confirmed that our genius Lin Chen is a descendant of Sanhan. Lin Chen's parents looked at Lin Chen and didn't react. They gave birth to him and raised him for 19 years. How could his parents not know anything at all? Damn, this tiny country has no shame. Lin Chen was surprised for a moment, and then he got used to it. Sanhan country wanted to take everything good when it saw it. After all, Sanhan country is like this, always wanting to find a sense of existence to satisfy the empty heart. As soon as this news report was broadcast, it immediately caused a great response in the empire. Is the Sanhan kingdom doing this again? I'm full. Lin Chen did not go to Wei House No. 3 to spend the night for the first time, but returned to his long-lost bedroom. He turned on the computer and found that many people on Weibo were paying attention to whether he was a Sanhan person. Then, he could not resist the temptation of the other party and plunged into the arms of the Sanhan kingdom. There were even radical netizens who threatened that if Lin Chen dared to be a traitor to the empire and a foreign licker, he would go to his ancestral grave. Lin Chen. In fact, he never made any statement at all. It was obvious that netizens were overthinking. Time fermented in a short time. That is, tonight's news set off a huge response on the internet. A large number of reposts continued, and it was flooded in every corner of Weibo for a while, and began to climb to the hot search list. Immediately afterwards, a female fan of a celebrity was angry. Her idol, Xiaoyu, a big star, had diarrhea tonight. Shouldn't such a big thing be known to everyone, but it was maliciously squeezed out of the hot search. Who is Lin Chen? Never heard of it. Damn it, this won't work. I have to expose him. Not just any Tom, Dick or Harry can try to scam a celebrity on Weibo. Chapter 13 Fans with shit in their heads. Female fans immediately ignited the flames of war and posted a message on Weibo. Who is Lin Chen? Is he the Oppa of Sanhan country? What TV series is he in? Is he as handsome as Xiaoyu? And attached 2 photos of Xiaoyu playing basketball. This Weibo was quickly reposted by many female netizens, because these people were all speaking up for their idol. Why can this Lin Chen squeeze out Xiaoyu's popularity? Who does he think he is? Finally, even Xiaoyu himself appeared on Weibo and made a statement. Lin Chen? I haven't heard of him. It seems that he is not an actor. Since Sanhan country asked him to go back, he should go back quickly for the friendship between the two countries. The internet exploded immediately. Xiaoyu, I love you. Xiaoyu is the most qualified star in the empire. Look, even if he was squeezed out of the hot search, he was still not angry, but politely asked Lin Chen to return to Sanhan. A large number of Xiaoyu's fans boasted about Xiaoyu, who was as brilliant as a radiant light, and the scale of victory began to tilt towards the topic of Xiaoyu's diarrhea tonight, which once again topped the search list. But at this moment, millions of netizens who are sensible and not blindly chasing stars exploded. The genius scientist who built Mechas in the empire, the only scientist in the entire Azure Star, was actually asked by an actor to go to Sanhan country. This is the shame of the empire and the sadness of scientists. Fuck, scientists can't compare to an actor these days. I've learned a lot. Lin Chen's importance to the empire is self-evident. How could you say that Lin Chen should go to Sanhan? The empire can still function without a star like this, but if Lin Chen goes to other countries, the consequences are unimaginable. For a while, the two major camps on the internet began to spray each other. The angry youth of the empire didn't care which star Xiaoyu was, and directly sent the most sincere greetings. At the same time, this was also a signal, whether the scientists of the empire were more important or the entertainment stars of the empire were more important. At this time, Lin Chen frowned slightly. Without any warning, a large number of comments flooded into his Weibo. The meanings were similar and all strongly demanded that he and Xiaoyu apologize. Originally, Lin Chen was ready to start a fight, but after thinking about it, he resisted the urge and issued a statement. Actors are ruining the country. Everyone understood the literal meaning, but perhaps no one understood what Lin Chen meant. Through this incident, Lin Chen had a resistance to the entertainment industry, and those women with shit in their heads, I really don't know where their sense of superiority came from. This sentence caused a great response. Look, this is the scientist of the empire, not those licking dogs who worship foreigners and fawn on foreigners. At this moment, Lin Chen was the one that people wanted, and one sentence overwhelmed countless languages, as if any words became pale in front of this sentence. Actors are ruining the country. Early the next morning, the first hot search on Weibo became the police notice, and the topic of Kai Han Xiaoyu kindly letting Lin Chen go to Sanhan country and who Lin Chen was had disappeared. When people habitually clicked on the police notice, they immediately showed a stunned expression and browsed the police notice in disbelief. The Guoda police stated, in view of the bad remarks made by a certain Stark by the 20th last night, the Guoda police arrested him in the early morning and detained him for 15 days according to the law, and ordered him to apologize to Professor Lin. In view of Sun XX's malicious slander of the image of the imperial scientist, the Jinzhou provincial police have been notified to arrest him and sentenced him to 3 months of detention. Below, there are a few photos attached. Kai Xiaoyu was handcuffed and squatted on the ground with his bare buttocks. Another photo was Sun the 20th squatting on the ground with handcuffs and mosaics. Netizens who knew the truth were jubilant, because how could they not be excited when the police did this? I want to see Sun the 20th. Damn mosaics. Sun the 20th is a brain-dead fan, there is no doubt about it. Brain-dead fans are like this, defending their own idol and punching hard against other idols. They are like fish in water in a verbal battle, and finally their idols are discredited, and they move on to the next idol with anger. Netizens cheered and applauded, and then turned to Sun XX's Weibo. The Weibo account has already published an apology statement. Sisters, I'm sorry, I didn't know Lin Chen was an unpopular scientist, my fault, I apologize. Then the army of angry netizens scolded him below the Weibo, and then went to Kai Xiaoyu's Weibo, regardless of the apology statement, and scolded him again. After they had finished scolding him, they were satisfied and went to Lin Chen's Weibo to browse the latest updates. Fuck. Awesome, cool and awesome. Lin Chen's Weibo has a lot of inexplicable and confusing messages at this time. Lin Chen was not aware of the things on the internet, or he knew that the imperial officials would solve such things. He talked to Li Xian for a few words and wanted to move to the secret base near Zili Military University. However, Li Xian showed an embarrassment and said, "We have to wait another week." Well, didn't you say that the base is ready? The base is ready, but an important link is missing, so we are speeding up the transformation. Question mark, question mark, question mark, Lin Chen. Because this is our first time to use Mechas, we forgot to build a runway, and the most important thing is that we found out that the Mechas can't fly out after we built them underground. Lin Chen. Just now, the No. 2 middle school in our city asked you to go to the middle school and give a speech. At the time, a flight from Jianmeng Empire to Angxi Empire officially took off. In order to show the freedom, beauty, and strength of Jianmeng Empire and the importance he attached to Lin Chen, Mr. Smith from Cambridge University took time out of his busy schedule to personally come to Angxi Empire to deliver an invitation letter. Smith came to this mission with a very unhappy mood all the way, because the last time he was on a business trip for a year, and then he went home and became a father in a daze. Is it another black baby this time? Although he still loves his wife very much, he doesn't want to share his love with his children. So this time, Smith plans to send out the invitation letter and go home quickly. On the one hand, the environment in Wang's Empire is very bad, and on the other hand, he feels very embarrassed to send an invitation letter to a guy who made toys. He saw the city beginning to appear from the plane window, and knew that they were about to arrive at the capital of Wangxin Kingdom, so he looked at Lin Chen's information again with a smile. Even though he had read all the way, he still found it very funny. Only a backward and ignorant country like the Wangxi Empire would regard a big toy as reality. If possible, Smith must let Lin Chen make a similar big toy for his little black baby. Many years later, Ostika Saribati Smith will become an excellent father, a father that the neighbors admire. Smith has fallen into endless fantasy. The members of the flight crew not far away all looked at Smith with a strange look on their faces. The plane had landed in the capital for half an hour. Is this foreigner sincerely making trouble? After a long time, a flight attendant said, "Captain, should we remind him?" "Don't, this is a professor from the Jianmeng Empire." With the usual nature of their Jianmeng Empire, they will most likely distort the facts and raise it to an international issue, saying how uncultured our Wangxin is. Chapter 14. Fake foreigner. The captain of the plane immediately stopped him. As time went by, the airport police were alerted because the plane was not inspected for a long time. After understanding what happened, the two policemen pulled Smith with dark faces and said, "Sir, wake up." Smith was dreaming. After being awakened, his face was obviously not good. He shouted indiscriminately. Fuck, you Roma too uncultured. You actually drove the passengers on the plane. I'm a Jianmen Green. I will expose you when I go back. You are suspected of obstructing the official business of the Empire. Come with us now. The police handcuffed him. Fuck, how can I be suspected of obstructing official business? I'm a Jianmen Green. You have no right to take me away. Smith continued to shout. Because you sat on the plane and smiled foolishly for an hour, causing the flight to be delayed. Fuck, there must be something wrong with the time of your Empire. Smith continued to argue, thinking that he was an innocent victim. But no matter how he argued, he was still taken to the police station. In the history of the Empire, Smith was the first Jianmen Green to be arrested for daydreaming. 2 hours later, Smith was bailed out by the Jianmen Empire Embassy and Lanwang University. In the car, Smith shouted, "Oh, God, did Lin Chen from your country grow up in such a living environment? He is so pitiful. I'm very worried that he will lose his freedom because of this." Smith is an international celebrity and he was an alumnus of the president of Lanwang University, so he is not unfamiliar with him. He has already guessed something in his heart, so he asked, "Mr. Smith, why did you come to Empire this time?" "I am here on behalf of Cambridge University to invite Lin Chen and let him join our free Jianmen Empire," Smith replied. "So you also like his Mecha?" said the president of Lanwang University. "Mecha? After our confirmation, it is just a big toy. Your information is wrong. I saw it with my own eyes. It is real." "What? It is real?" Smith was stunned for a moment, and he immediately became serious about sending the invitation letter, which he originally despised in his heart. Even his breathing became heavier. Such talent must go to Jianmen Empire. The president of Guoda University looked at Smith deeply. He didn't want to care about such things, but even if he didn't care, someone would care, and he would leave a bad reputation if he went. So he thought that there were enough misunderstandings about him anyway, so he was not afraid of one more. He told the driver to turn the car around and head to Jinshi. An hour later, the group arrived at the door of Lin Chen's house. As soon as they got off the car, they were stopped by the security guard at the entrance of the university. "Who are you looking for?" The security guard focused his eyes on Smith. "I'm the president of Lanwang University. I'm Professor Smith from Cambridge University. I came from Jianmen Empire to find Lin Chen. Please help me convey some messages," Smith said. "Sorry, he just went out," the security guard said. "Can you ask him to come back? You asked me to call and ask our boss's son to come home. Do you think I will do that?" The security guard looked at the president of Lanwang University with an unhappy face. "Where did he go?" The president of Lanwang University was surprised. "How can I, a security guard, know?" The security guard spread his hands. "I am here on behalf of Cambridge University to invite Lin Chen to join our Jianmen Empire. If you delay the important business, you will not be able to bear the responsibility," Smith yelled. He was fed up with the environment of the Wangxian Empire. "He is not here." Several security guards turned their eyes to the president of Lanwang University. They had an understanding in their hearts, and they were also slightly unhappy. It seems that the fake foreign devil brought foreign devils to lure Lin Chen to the Jianmen Empire. Bah, such a fake foreign devil can actually become the president of a university. Then when will he be here? The president of Lanwang University grabbed Smith, who was still yelling. "How do we little security guards know?" The tone of the security guard's speech became increasingly impolite, and he became more and more disgusted with the ugly face of the president of Lanwang University. "Okay, then, we will come again tomorrow. You must come early. Lin Chen is very busy every day. After all, he is too busy to go to college," said the security guard. The president of Lanwang University was almost furious, as if he saw the scene of being driven out by this security guard again. The next day. "Hey, old classmate, the environment of your university is really terrible. It can't be compared with our Cambridge University at all." Smith smiled on the way to Zili Military University. Soon they arrived at the university gate. "Lin Chen should be here today, right?" Smith asked the guard. "Wait a minute, he is very busy now, let's not disturb him," the guard said. "You must be joking with me, right? Now you go in and call Lin Chen out immediately, or I will go in to find him." Smith's anger suddenly jumped up. "I advise you not to move. Believe it or not, I will call a group of workers to tie you up immediately." The security guard looked disdainful. Oh, fuck, I just came to give him an invitation letter. Is this not acceptable? Smith was still furious. When he made such a fuss, the passers-by and students were stunned. This is naked discrimination against the Empire. The Wang's Empire actually beat people? Hasn't the Jianmeng Empire always been advertised as the center of the world and the paradise of the Blue Star? So they're like this. For a while, many people took out their mobile phones, recorded videos, and posted them to their respective social accounts to show the real face of Jianmeng Empire. Arrogance and conceit. Replies soon appeared on the social platform. Look, everyone, this is the nature of Jianmeng Empire. Fuck, did they hit someone? As expected of Jianmeng people, they are so awesome. The foreigner was brought here by the president of Lanwang University. That liquor is so close to the foreigner, no wonder the empire loses many top students every year. Netizens on the social platform were extremely disgusted with Smith's remarks just now, and even hated the president of Lanwang University. It was a blessing for the empire to have Lin Chen, but this doc smashed it and let the foreigner to lure Lin Chen to Jianmeng Empire. The president of Lanwang University was so depressed that he vomited blood. He was really misunderstood. The matter became more and more serious, and finally there was no way out, so Lin Chen finally came out. Is there anything? Lin Chen asked. Are you Lin Chen? Smith asked. Yes, it's me. On behalf of Jianmeng Empire and Cambridge University, I now invite you to develop in Jianmeng Empire. This is the invitation letter, please keep it. Smith panted, adjusted his tie, and took out a precious invitation letter from his briefcase. At this moment, the world was quiet, not only the eyes of the people nearby, but even several anchors and the audience in the live broadcast room were quiet. People were watching Lin Chen's hands closely, whether he would accept this invitation letter from the other side of the ocean. Chapter 15. Elegant gentleman. The invitation letter from Jianmeng Empire is something that many people dream of. At this moment of public attention, Lin Chen frowned. If he refused, the other party would definitely cling to him like a dogskin plaster. If he accepted it, it would be very bad. So he came up with a plan. After receiving the invitation letter, he sent the other party away, and then tore it up in public. Perfect. I'll consider it. Lin Chen's expression was indifferent, and he took the other party's invitation letter with his right hand. Smith's breathing immediately became rapid, and he smiled. Oh, that's great, you made a great decision, and we will live together in the beautiful Jianmeng Empire in the future. I'm still very busy, do you think so? I understand. Smith smiled and nodded, then pulled the president of Lanwang University to get in the car quickly. He had to go back to China quickly to pass on this exciting news. After Smith and the president of Lanwang University left, at this time, people on the internet had already begun to criticize Lin Chen. I'm so angry. This is a shame for the empire. Forget it, Lin Chen likes those big foreign horses from the Jianmeng Empire. Bah, disgusting, why didn't your ancestors crawl out of their graves? Then the style of the painting suddenly changed. Lin Chen tore up the invitation letter from the Jianmeng Empire in full view of everyone. A breeze blew, and the scraps of paper in his hand became snowflakes all over the sky. The invitation letter from the Jianmeng Empire that countless people dreamed of was gone. He proved all his actions with reality. A perfect and elegant gentleman, he neither damaged the image of the Wang's Empire nor fully demonstrated his determination. The passers-by around immediately gave a thumbs up, and the internet was speechless in an instant. They seemed to have misunderstood Lin Chen. What a surprise. This is a gentleman who cares about our image. If my husband could be as handsome as him, I would not cheat. True patriotism does not need to be spoken, but proved by actual actions. Lin Chen undoubtedly proves it with actual actions. People all misunderstood Lin Chen. When the truth of the matter appeared before their eyes, Lin Chen's fans increased again. That night, Smith returned to the beautiful Jianmeng Empire happily. He vowed to pass this good news back as quickly as possible in his life. The internet also spread the news of what happened in Jiangxi today. Regarding Smith's invitation to Lin Chen to join the Jianmeng Empire, netizens only cursed the Western Jianmeng Empire for being shameless, but it was completely different for the president of Lanwang University. His behavior was more hateful and disgusting than Smith's. The president of a well-known university actually brought foreigners to seduce Lin Chen to the Jianmeng Empire. Tonight, the forum of Lanwang University has been occupied by a spontaneous alliance of hackers in the empire. Anyone can speak freely. What kind of rubbish president is this? Do you think the empire is losing enough talents? Netizens vented everything in dissatisfaction. At this time, the president of Linmeng University yelled in front of the computer, "You know nothing. If I don't go, someone else will take the blame. I already have a lot of blame and don't mind taking another one. Those international students who don't come back have nothing to do with me. Every year, I call those who come back from studying abroad, but no one who listens to me understands me. Those who were innocent will be innocent. Even if I am slandered every day, what's the harm?" The next morning, as soon as the president of Linmeng University arrived at the university, he was surrounded by a group of angry students, staring at him covetously. "Principal, you are so shameless. How did you become the principal? Why are all the people on the forum scolding you? I used to be proud of Linmeng University, and our family was also excited about my admission to Linmeng University. But this morning my parents suddenly called me and scolded me for being disobedient and unfilial, saying that even if I went to a fake university, it would be better than Linmeng University. I seem to have seen that in the near future, people will not talk about Linmeng University with envy, but with disgust." Feeling the accusations around him, the president of Linmeng University turned black with anger. He was furious and said, "I'm your president. How could I do anything to let you down? Don't believe in rumors. Smith and I were just alumni of Cambridge University." At this time, a girl with pockmarks on her face ran over excitedly and screamed, "Don't be fooled by him. A few days ago, I overheard him talking with our school beauty Caldio. He said that he wanted to have an in-depth exchange with that foreigner named Smith for a night of physiology class." After hearing this, the whole audience was in an uproar, and even those who didn't want to cause trouble looked at the principal in disbelief. "Is this true, principal? Did you ask Xiaohua to do it voluntarily or by force? Principal, please explain it clearly, otherwise we will have to ask Xiaohua to confirm it. Let's arrest the principal and take him to the police station. I don't believe that this guy is not a spy of the Jianmeng Empire. Yes, he must be a spy of the enemy country, and he is constantly creating talents for the enemy country in our Wangxin Empire." At this time, the principal of Linmeng University felt his ears buzzing, and at the same time, he was so depressed that he vomited blood. Which bastard spread the rumor? He was only responsible for giving students the opportunity to study abroad. Those international students didn't come back to take care of their own business. Now, this blame has made himself known to everyone. Damn Smith, if he had known earlier, he should not have ignored this matter and let others take the blame. He was so angry at these naughty students that he couldn't speak. He felt a hot current rushing to his forehead, and fell straight to the ground before he finished speaking. Oh no, the principal fainted. A week later, Lin Chen officially arrived at the base. The base is located on the seashore 10 kilometers east of the university. It uses an upper and lower building, both on the surface and underground. The Empire is urgently requisitioning the materials needed for various Mechas. In addition, the Empire has also equipped dozens of experts and professors in the military industry to assist Lin Chen, as well as more than 100 scientific researchers, and hundreds of base operators. After all, Lin Chen can no longer do everything himself. As long as he has a few important technologies in hand, others will naturally do the rest. This shows how the Empire treats Lin Chen. The base contains huge hangars, maintenance warehouses, elevator shafts, cranes, runway decks, command rooms, etc. And it already has a hint of scenes that can only be seen in science fiction movies. Here is the list of materials delivered. Take a look. Liang Shizong handed over the ownership of the base to Lin Chen, and at the same time taught Lin Chen how to operate the base. After all, he is the president of a university, so it is naturally impossible for him to manage a base again. What's more, there has been an agreement that this base will fully cooperate with Lin Chen in the future. The base began to operate, and a large amount of materials were transported into the base. Lin Chen was walking towards the base with Liang Shizong, flipping through the list. Suddenly, he stopped and saw some more medicines on the list. He was surprised and asked, "Why are there medicines on this list? This is a mecha manufacturing base, not a pharmaceutical company." Chapter 16. The Show of Imperial Flowers. Liang Shizong looked a little strange, and said, "There are two lists. What you are seeing now is the list of the base's medical department, which is not your responsibility." Medical department? Lin Chen was very surprised. He had never heard of this department before. The base has always had a medical department to ensure the health of those of you who were engaged in scientific research. Liang Shizong said. At this time, footsteps sounded behind him, and a woman's voice came, saying, "Yes, when the medical department was first established, it was responsible for the health of scientific researchers and the health of the troops around the base." Lin Chen looked back and saw 3 female doctors in white coats walking towards him. The leading woman was about 20 years old, with beautiful facial features and skin as white as cream, giving people a very capable temperament. The person who spoke was this extremely beautiful woman. She stretched out her slender right hand and smiled. "Hello, Professor Lin, I'm the head of the base's medical department, Jiangshi." "Hello." Lin Chen shook hands with her politely. "Let me introduce you briefly. This is the eldest princess of our Wangxin Empire. Miss Jiangshi has been in charge of the medical care of the base, which can be regarded as logistics." Liang Shizong introduced and added to Lin Chen. "If you don't understand something in the base, you can ask Miss Shi. She is from the army, capable, beautiful and generous, and is known as the Emperor's Flower." Later, Lin Chen and Jiangshi briefly chatted about some issues about the base, and then dispersed. Later, after Lin Chen was thoroughly familiar with the entire base, he began the correct process. After the morning exercises and breakfast, the entire base staff were gathered together by Lin Chen, the highest leader except for the medical staff. With his order, except for Jiangxi's medical department, all the personnel who were going to participate in the construction of the mecha soon appeared in front of Lin Chen and lined up. These people were old and young, but they all had one characteristic: they were excited and looked at Lin Chen with hot eyes. Because Lin Chen has completely convinced everyone in the past few days. The Mechas that they couldn't understand became as simple as pediatrics after Lin Chen explained them, although it became even more difficult to understand afterwards. Everyone knew that Lin Chen's gathering of the base personnel today would mean that the base would start the project of manufacturing Mechas. People were eager to complete a brand new mecha built by Mechas immediately. Lin Chen was not stage frightened. Feeling the hopeful eyes of hundreds of people below, he said, "You may know why I called everyone here today. Yes, from today on, we will officially manufacture Mechas." The crowd below was excited, and then there was a low voice. "Great, I have been dreaming about making Mechas every day recently. I'm the chief engineer of the first aircraft carrier of the Wangxin Empire. Junk-like aircraft carriers can no longer stop me from making Mechas. Ha! Once the first mecha comes out of the base, we will be recorded in the history of the Wangxin Empire." It was about to start, and the blood of the engineers was burning and full of energy. Lin Chen spread his hands flat, and the base immediately became quiet and began to explain the tasks. The division of labor in the base was clear. The ones in yellow uniforms are mecha maintenance technicians and manufacturers, doing hard work. The ones in white uniforms are mecha researchers and designers of the internal structure of Mechas. The security personnel are armed to the teeth with live ammunition, and there are guards at every intersection and passage 24 hours a day. When a group of future mecha maintenance technicians happily left with the blueprints, there were only about 100 real researchers left on the scene. These people are the core of the base and the main force involved in the construction of Mechas. And Lin Chen will of course watch them work in the future. At present, many researchers are anxiously waiting for Lin Chen's orders. Lin Chen smiled and said, "Your current knowledge reserves are too little, and you are not yet able to participate in the design of Mechas. I have to tell you mainly about the operating principles of the internal Mechas." Everyone. Why do they have too little knowledge reserves? Who is not a genius here? If they have little knowledge reserves, then what are the people outside? Are they the idiots of the empire? Later, Lin Chen took these people to a huge classroom. It is actually very easy to manufacture Mechas, but you must understand the principles thoroughly. In a room that was comparable to a hotel lobby, Lin Chen stood on the podium and took out a small black box from his pocket. He pressed a few times on it, and the lights in the room were no longer bright. Instead, a little blue light appeared above the small black box to form a virtual image of a mecha. Everyone was shocked. What kind of technology is this? Why has no one ever mentioned it? Is that image processing technology? It looks so amazing, I can't understand the principle at all. The image of the mecha is the key point, don't look at it randomly. Everyone was shocked. Such an awesome technology, it's embarrassing to not understand it at all. This is image processing technology. Your focus is not on this, but on this mecha. The screen where image processing technology is applied makes it very convenient for Lin Chen to split the mecha into 3D pictures, and it is also convenient for these people to understand better. This is the power hub of the mecha. The 9th generation atomic reactor uses the principle of nuclear fission interaction particles, Lin Chen explained. Everyone was shocked and blushed. It was too profound. What should I do if I don't understand it at all? You spoke too fast, I didn't remember it. Fuck, such a great technology, I didn't understand it at all. I seem to understand the literal meaning. Mr. Wang, lend me your notes. However, when he saw that his colleagues around him were also in a state of panic, he scratched his head and cheeks, and the shame in his heart was slightly relieved. It's embarrassing. It's not embarrassing for everyone to be embarrassed together, but Lin Chen's explanation is too profound. At this time, Lin Chen finished speaking and smiled. Do you understand the atomic reactor? It seems. I understand it a little. The not-so-loud voices of the scientific researchers rang out in the huge classroom. Lin Chen was surprised. Logically, these people should have high IQs, but they only understood it a little after he said it very clearly. Just say it if you don't understand it. Lin Chen said. So in the classroom, a group of scientists with profound attainments in the field of science blushed. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. I don't understand anything except that it's called an atomic reactor. Oh, it's not that they're stupid. It's that they feel that what Lin Chen said has exceeded their cognition. This is not knowledge of an era at all. Is this still a human? Lin Chen took a deep breath and clenched his fists quietly. It was clearly an expression of great restraint. He said, it means that you don't understand anything. The researchers at the base blushed, as if they were back in school, pretending to know everything, but being called on by the teacher the next second. This really made them lose face. Okay, I'll explain it in more detail. Lin Chen spoke again with great enthusiasm. When he talked about something exciting, he would also use image processing technology to demonstrate the principle. A group of researchers in the audience showed expressions of great interest and benefit. Of course, as for whether they understood it or not, I don't know. Today is the beginning of the test. The performance of the book is related to future recommendations. Friends who have recommendation tickets, please vote. Thank you. Chapter 17 I don't understand it all. It's not that the researchers in the base didn't listen carefully, but they simply couldn't understand. These people could understand every word Lin Chen said, but when they were connected into a sentence to form some operating principles, they had no idea what it meant. The heat energy generated by the atomic reactor will enter the inflation chamber, and then the thrusters will burn the air and open the anti-gravity field to fly into the sky. Lin Chen spoke slowly. Many researchers suddenly realized and nodded repeatedly, but in fact they were thinking. Question mark. Everyone present could be considered a genius in the outside world, so they all had the idea of seriously learning the internal technology of Mechas, and then using amazing technology to manufacture various high-end Mechas, and finally realize the dream of writing their own names in the history of the empire. But the reality is cruel. They have no knowledge of Mechas, and can only look at Lin Chen's endless performance in the classroom with a confused face. Although Lin Chen's explanation is easy to understand and vivid, it only applies to himself who has a system. For these researchers with zero foundation, Lin Chen is just talking about heavenly books. Finally, an expert named Wang stood up and asked, I wonder what the output power of this reactor is? It can generate more than 100 kN of thrust. Lin Chen said. The whole audience sucked in air. It seems that they had underestimated the 9th generation reactor technology before. No wonder they couldn't understand it at all. Over 100 kN? More than 10,000 kilograms of force. Fuck, it's hard to imagine. After everyone reacted, almost all of them thought it was impossible. After all, over 100 kN is over 100 kilonewtons, which completely subverts the scientific cognition of the past. But Lin Chen created another miracle for them. Three-dimensional technology, a big guy weighing more than 4,000 kilograms flew into the blue sky, and it can also become so many technologies that were unimaginable before have been realized, and the energy generated by this reactor seems to be acceptable. However, everyone now has a big doubt in their hearts. How did Lin Chen come up with this technology that is ahead of the times? Is he an alien? Suddenly, a woman's laughter came from outside, interrupting Lin Chen's voice. He walked out and saw Jingxi standing at the door. She smiled softly, and her delicate face had begun to turn slightly red. Lin Chen asked in confusion, Hey, Miss Jingxi of the Imperial Flower, is there anything wrong with you standing at the door? I was just passing by, and I wanted to laugh when I saw you performing so excitedly and dancing so happily. Jingxi smiled very appropriately. Don't mention it, I have never seen such a group of people who know nothing. Lin Chen sighed, and only hoped that the researchers inside would not be the worst. The researchers collectively raised their heads and looked at the ceiling above their heads expressionlessly. It felt so painful. Look at what Lin Chen said. Is it human language? Everyone present is an outstanding scientist in the field of military industry, but in his mouth, they become people who know nothing. Can you do whatever you want with technology? I think it may be the first time I have come into contact with this field, and it is inevitable that I don't understand. Jingxia is a very sensible woman, so she also understands the difficulties of those imperial researchers, and then bid farewell to Lin Chen with a smile. Lin Chen nodded, turned and walked into the room, and said to the researchers with miserable faces, I have recorded what I said today. I hope you can understand it as soon as possible. Each of you must thoroughly master the core structure of the mecha. We don't have much time left. The researchers were shocked. Time is running out? So someone explained the difficulty. Yes, please leave it to you. After saying this, the others immediately agreed. Time waits for no one. If you can't master the technology within 2 people's time, then please either return to your original place or go to the maintenance department to produce each component according to the design drawing. I will assemble the mecha myself. Lin Chen did not give in on this issue. Because of the opening of the other dimensional space, the monster invasion has begun to count down. Less than a year seems to be very long, but it is actually very short. Take the mecha manufacturing as an example. Lin Chen used 3 years with his skilled technology to barely complete 70% of the structure of the test machine. Now I think that with the strength of the entire base, under the premise that the researchers are not skilled, it should be possible to manufacture a real combat mecha and weapons in a limited time. Otherwise, he would have to do it himself. Does anyone have any questions? Lin Chen asked again. The answer was silence. Very good, from now on you will enter a tense state of morning and evening study. I believe in you. Lin Chen encouraged. For the glory of the Empire. The researchers' voices were loud and confident. It doesn't matter if one person doesn't understand the technology thoroughly. It shouldn't be difficult to assign so many people to learn and understand. In addition, even more than 100 pigs can grow fat in 2 months. What else do they have to retreat? After the researchers left with today's records, Lin Chen sat alone in a chair and opened the system panel. Host. Lin Chen Task 1. Build a mecha, progress 71%, Task 2. Prevent the invasion of monsters and crush the alien conspiracy, countdown 301 days, fan value 556 million. In fact, Lin Chen did not think about using this test machine to participate in the war, but considering that the whole body of the mecha is made of different types of metal, this unrealistic idea faded. Inside the base here, everything went very smoothly. The researchers were like taking a strong medicine. They had completely gotten rid of the newbies who knew nothing about mecha. Although they didn't fully understand it, they understood it almost. So the task of manufacturing mecha has officially begun, and Lin Chen is responsible for supervision. Professor Lin, look at this newly transferred super hard chromium and TB3 titanium alloy. Which material should we use for the joint structure? An elderly engineer asked Lin Chen with a question. At the time, he looked at Lin Chen with a more fervent look, and it could even be described as religious fanaticism. In the past, everyone knew that Lin Chen was very powerful and the mecha was also very powerful, but when they really participated in the process of manufacturing mecha, they realized that they had seriously underestimated Lin Chen's ability. Is this still a human? He is simply not a human, but a god of technology. Use chromium to bear the joints and titanium alloy for armor. Lin Chen said this, which means that the mecha has really started to be assembled. Since the researchers in the base have a general understanding of the internal structure of the mecha, the entire mecha began to be busy as hot as tea. With the participation of the researchers, Lin Chen's burden was naturally much lighter. Assemble the internal parts of the PMA. Construct the inflatable. Load the 2-in thrusters. The assembly process was not fast, and the daily progress could be described as slow, but at least Lin Chen didn't have to do it himself. On the days when the mecha was being built, Lin Chen would often go out for a walk. For example, please vote, brothers and sisters, the editor of the trial water now depends on the results. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 18. The first mecha made by the Wangxian Empire. Bang, bang, bang. The troops outside the mecha belong to the base defensive force, and have been stationed with nearly 10,000 people. At the time, a burst of dense gunfire rang out in the shooting training ground of the unit. The gunfire stopped, and a group of low-level officers who were on duty looked at the target and immediately became surprised. Fuck, it's Professor Lin, this shooting skill is amazing. All of them missed the target. Carlo, you looked at the wrong target. Professor Lin's shooting skills are really getting more and more sophisticated. The physical fitness of scientists is the same as that of us soldiers. No one may believe it if you tell it out. I heard from Miss Jingshu that since Professor Lin came to us for training, his basic physical strength, reflex nerves, and fighting ability are now above average. Listening to the officers' discussion, Lin Chen was surprised and said, "Does Jingshu come here often?" The officers looked at him with a weird look and said, "The medical care of the entire 4th Corps is under her charge, don't you know?" Lin Chen shook his head awkwardly. His relationship with her was just average, so he naturally didn't know. At this time, Li Xian led a scientific researcher from the base into the shooting training ground, saluted and said, "Professor Lin, this person is looking for you." "What's going on?" Lin Chen looked at Zhu Xiao, a scientific researcher from the base. "Professor Lin, Zhu Xiao's words were rather reserved, and it was obvious that this was not the place to talk. "It's okay, we are all soldiers of the Wangxian Empire, not outsiders," Lin Chen said. A large group of low-level legions of the 4th Legion stiffened slightly. "The mecha will be completed in 2 hours, and Mr. Wang asked me to call you back," Zhu Xiao said. "So soon?" Lin Chen was surprised. It's been almost a year. Since the base started to officially manufacture Mechas, you have been running to the barracks almost every day. "Oh, then go back and take a look," Lin Chen said. After Lin Chen left, the junior officers in the shooting training ground reacted for a long time. "What did you say just now? Will the mecha be built in a few hours?" "It seems so." "Fuck, doesn't that mean our army will become a mecha army in the future? It will be great to have military exercises again." "Cool. Come on, there are more than 100,000 people in the army. If you are given one, you can sweep the whole world." A group of junior officers, although they knew it was unrealistic, after all, the mecha was built in the base, and they were somewhat proud and arrogant in their hearts. Here, in the base, the mecha was completed, and a brand new combat weapon lay quietly in the hangar. Its white armor, extremely industrial aesthetic shape, neat and uniform, was many times cooler than Lin Chen's test machine. The surrounding environment was silent. Whether it was medical staff or maintenance personnel, they all looked at Lin Chen sitting on the mecha and tinkering with it. "We succeeded." Lin Chen checked and confirmed that the mecha had been completed, which took 205 days, 3 hours and 6 minutes. Everyone's tense strings broke. "Ah, my 1-year efforts have not been in vain. Ha ha ha, it's easy, I'll take a day off tomorrow to go home and make out with my wife." People cheered loudly, and the sound waves spread far away. In the end, the mecha was named Jinlong by Jiangxi, followed by Zhenlong and Yelong. Lin Chen and others names such as Tuzi, Dashan, and Wudi, which implied invincibility, were completely defeated. At night, Liang Shizong received a notice from the base and immediately dispatched a helicopter from Jie City to the base. After verifying the situation, he immediately made a phone call. "Your Majesty, the mecha is completed." Completed. Jiangmen Jiwan could no longer remain calm at this time and stood up from his chair excitedly. The data he had seen before had been handed over to his subordinates. Countless experts had analyzed it, and a comprehensive estimate of its energy, speed, armor, attack power, etc. had been obtained. He could do everything that combat helicopters and tanks could do. With sufficient energy and ammunition, he was a light cavalry on the battlefield. "Give the order, I'll go there tomorrow. I want to see with my own eyes the official birth of the first mecha manufactured by our Wangxian Empire." Jiangmen Jiwan's eyes were firm. "What about Princess Jiangxi?" Jiangmen Jiwan turned his head and looked at the 3 children at the dinner table. After a long silence, he said, "Tell her. In fact, she should still hate you for marrying her stepmother." On the phone, Liang Shizong changed his tone and spoke like a long-time friend. On that day, Jiangmen Jiwan turned down all the itineraries for tomorrow. Although this matter was not publicized, the other 2 forces in the Wangxian Empire basically knew about it. After hearing the news, they also knew what Jiangmen Jiwan was going to do. Although he also wanted to win over Lin Chen, he gave up this tempting idea after thinking about it. After all, it is an indisputable fact that Jiang Minjiwan will not live for many years. Even if he wins over others, how many people will protect his orphans and widows when he dies? Lin Chen did not react much to the news that Jiang Minjiwan would come to the base tomorrow. He opened the system panel while lying in the bedroom of the base. Host: Lin Chen. Task 1. Make Mecha. 90%. Task 2. Stop the monster invasion. Countdown begins. Fan value: 7 million. Does it have to be equipped with weapons to be considered truly completed? After reading the system panel, Lin Chen suddenly became much more silent. The Mecha has obviously been built, but it is not 100% yet. And the monster invasion, the countdown means it is approaching, but how to invade? He thought about it for a long time and couldn't figure it out, so he stopped racking his brains and took out his mobile phone. Forget it, I'll post a Weibo and earn some fans first. Today is a good opportunity to harvest fans. The Mecha made by the Wangxi Empire is always more worthy of attention than the Mecha made by an individual, right? Weibo message. After a busy year, our efforts in this year have finally been rewarded. The real Mecha will be officially tested tomorrow. Attached below is a photo of the high-tech Mecha. Weibo exploded. For Lin Chen's fans and Mecha fans, this is destined to be a sleepless night. So cool, this is cooler than the previous Mecha. Is this really a Mecha made by our Wangxi Empire? Excuse me, where is it being tested? I want to see it. Is the Mecha for sale? Don't ask why it costs 300 million. I just have money. The poor bastard upstairs, get out of here. I spent 2 billion to buy 2 Mechas, one for fun and one for home as a decoration. Countless people seem to have been hit by Lin Chen's Weibo, and soon it soared from an obscure small topic directly to the hot search list and topic list. The stars at the top of the major lists looked at this new uninvited guest in surprise. Shouldn't Weibo's hot searches and topic lists have always been occupied by the entertainment industry? I built a Mecha and see these people making a fuss. It's really, Chapter 19. Mecha Eternity is like a long night. The next day. Inside the Mecha base, all preparations have been completed. Even the command room, which has never been used, has begun to appear to check if there are any emissions. Lin Chen did not care about those trivial matters. He sat in the base cafeteria and ate breakfast casually, and then watched the crew of the maintenance department transport the Mecha to the elevator shaft. At this time, the hall was already crowded. All the personnel involved in this project gathered here to see their own achievements. After waiting for nearly an hour, Lin Chen frowned and asked Liang Shizong beside him, "Why haven't you come yet?" "This is waiting for our Emperor Wangxian. Look at those people, they are all nervous and expectant, and you, come if you want to." "I didn't eat their ice," Lin Chen said. Liang Shizong. After a while, the roar of a helicopter sounded in the distance, and it landed on the runway outside the base. Several people walked in. Lin Chen's previous complaints flew away, and his eyes were filled with shock and confusion. At the door, several serious and imposing men surrounded a middle-aged man who was familiar and unfamiliar to Lin Chen. Lin Chen was not too unfamiliar with Jiang Minjiwan. He often saw him on TV when he was a child. At the time, he was full of vigor and vitality, and then he no longer appeared in the public eye. However, when he appeared again at this time, he looked like an old man in his twilight years. "Is he the father of Emperor Zikyu?" Lin Chen asked. "Yes, and the commanders of the 3rd, 5th, and 6th legions are beside your majesty." It can be seen that Jiang Minjiwan attaches great importance to Mechas. This time, he brought 3 big men who were on an equal footing with Liang Shizong for the test. As Jiang Minjiwan passed by, the surrounding base personnel consciously made way. Lin Chen. "Good, very good." Jiang Minjiwan came to Lin Chen and smiled at his childish face. Although he wanted to say more evaluations, those evaluations could not express Lin Chen's excellence in his eyes. He only took 1 year to let the base build a Mecha. So, after thinking for a moment, he could only use the simplest evaluation. "Thank you." Lin Chen's attitude was neither humble nor arrogant. Jiang Minjiwan smiled at the pillar of the future empire and said, "I'm late, and I wasted some time in the middle. So let's start now." Lin Chen didn't think too much, turned around and said with a headset, "Start the test." After that, he went to the locker room alone. There was no pilot in the base at the moment, so he had to complete the test of the new Mecha himself. The flight uniform was more formal than before, and the goggles also had dialogue and night vision functions. A moment later, Lin Chen appeared in a unique uniform. There was a sense of déjà vu of watching a science fiction movie, very mysterious and cool. This outfit would definitely cause many women to scream in the outside world. Lin Chen rode on the mecha called Jinlong and inserted the neural interaction of the tail vertebra of the uniform into the dedicated interface. Start. The screen on the side of the indicator suddenly showed the image of Lin Chen's thong and said, "This test is a comprehensive test, the content is understood," Lin Chen said. At this time, the warning sound transmitted from the command room also resounded throughout the base. The Jinlong is ready to go. Everyone in the command room was excited. They saw everything in the Mecha channel from the base video and Lin Chen's operation on the indicator. "Navigator, please leave the flight deck." 2 crew members holding red guide sticks ran away immediately. "The channel is clear, please go." The temperature of the reactor has risen by 2 million K. The inflatable has begun to react. The react system is ignited. The wings of the Mecha Jinlong began to spray blue airtail flames. At this moment, all the personnel in the entire base had a strong visual impact and pride. A year of hard work has not been in vain. The Jinlong is about to fly. Swoosh! Lin Chen skillfully drove the Mecha to take off from the flight deck and soared into the blue sky. Seeing the speed of the Jinlong flying on the screen, Jian, who was in the command room, was shocked and said to himself, "Okay, our combat helicopters definitely don't have this speed. Combat helicopters are the trump cards at low altitudes, because they can hover and take off and land vertically, which cannot be replaced by any fighter jets, because the functions of the two are different." Seeing the Jinlong flying at a low altitude, everyone naturally paid attention. The Jinlong transformed. Under Lin Chen's control, it turned into an 8-meter-tall steel giant during flight. Everyone felt a shock in their hearts. Every joint and every line of its huge body was like an earthquake, which shocked everyone. The most important thing was that it could hover in the air and take off and land vertically. Such skillful control was as if the Mecha was an intelligent life form. All the movements were very natural, without any stiffness. At this moment, the eyes of those who knew some military affairs at the scene turned from indifference to horror when they looked at the Jinlong. Such a Mecha can easily appear in any corner of the battlefield. As long as the Mecha is equipped with a counter-interference tracking system, you can imagine that it is an invincible existence. It's unimaginable. Your Majesty, our 6th Corps has not been equipped with new large weapons for a long time. The fighters on our 3rd Corps aircraft carriers have not been replaced for 2 years and need to be replaced. There is nothing to say. The 4th and 5th Corps have been brother corps since they were established. We will also have what they have. The 3 Corps commanders of the Wang's Empire looked at Lin Chen's thong with great envy, and they were even more jealous of Lin Chen's thong. It has just been manufactured and is not yet capable of large-scale service. When it is capable, you can talk to Lin Chen yourself. Jian made a double entendre. At this time, the tens of thousands of troops outside the base did not have any exercises. The officers also knew that even if they exercised today, they would not achieve satisfactory results. So they simply opened up to feel the military power from the Wangxian Empire. One by one, they all looked up at the sky. When a sharp sound of breaking through the air came from the sky, they knew that what they were waiting for finally appeared. Here it comes, here it comes. As the highest officer in the military camp, Lin Chen was the first to take the lead in climbing up the wall, shouting at the top of his lungs with a telescope in his hand. Swoosh! A black shadow appeared in the sky, gradually becoming clearer. It was the Mecha manufactured by the base they were guarding. The advent of Mechas is also due to their contributions and sweat. The atmosphere in the military camp exploded all of a sudden. If I, Lin Chen, hadn't been born, Mechas would have been in darkness forever. Look, it can transform. I used to think men playing with guns were the most handsome, but now men riding Mechas are the most handsome. Hey, stop occupying the telescope all the time, let us enjoy the sight. The waves in the military camp seemed to tear the sky apart, and the atmosphere was even crazier than a superstars concert. Chapter 20 Official Appointment of Commander Zili Military University. Led by Vice President Sun, a group of top students were heading towards the base. However, the students had no idea why they were brought out. Seeing Vice President Sunday looking up at the sky from time to time, the top students became more and more confused. What is old Sunday taking us to do? Who knows? It will only delay my precious time to study. The discussion became louder and louder, and Vice President Sunday turned around and said, "Hey, all of you keep your voices down, I secretly brought you out to see the Mecha." Everyone was shocked. To see the Mecha? Old Sunday is lying again. Every year, he is the one who deceives the freshmen the most. People doubted the authenticity of Vice President Sun's words. Not long after, 2 sentinels stopped them and said, "Tourists stop, the Empire ahead is testing the Mecha." Although they didn't understand why there were sentinels in such a remote place where they had walked for a whole morning, and why they were stopped, the people of Zilli Military University cheered at once. Fuck, Principal Sunday really brought us to see the Mecha. Let us go, we want to see the Mecha. My blood is burning, a real man should ride a sturdy Mecha to achieve great feats. I broke up with my girlfriend, but now I'm not sad at all. People were very excited, which boosted the pride of Vice Principal Sun, and he said, "I brought you top students from the university to see the grand scene of the Empire." He pretended to be very calm, but he was actually very nervous. "Principal, but they won't let us go," someone said. The smugness on Vice Principal Sun's face suddenly disappeared, and he took out his ID from his pocket and said to the sentry, "Old soldier, I'm the Vice President of Zilli Military University. We are all family, so we can just watch from a distance. Go ahead." The sentry checked the ID. Soon, when Vice Principal Sunday was walking forward with dozens of outstanding students from the university, they saw a shocking scene. It was a huge mecha flying at a low altitude. It can actually fly. Impossible, absolutely impossible. How much energy does such a big body need to make it fly? "Oh, junior brother, please touch my chest hard. Is it beating very hard?" A group of people were shouting and shouting, excited and happy. Zilli Military University has always been ranked less than 100 among the universities in the Empire, and has never recruited enough people. But this situation is about to be rewritten. Once the Mecha is mass-produced, Zilli Military University will become the cradle of Mecha pilots and absorb the pride of each province. At this time, Lin Chen was about to fly the Mecha back to the base. Suddenly, he saw many people dancing on the ground in the distance. He flew over without thinking too much, intending to tell them not to go forward. "Fuck, the Mecha is coming towards us." As people shouted, their hearts almost jumped to their throats. The 8-meter-high behemoth with a height of 3 floors was approaching quickly. Anyone who saw this scene would be terrified. They were too small in front of it. This is the inferiority and powerlessness of a flesh and blood body in front of a steel body. The Mecha stopped in mid-air, satisfying all the excitement of the people. This scene could only appear in cartoons before, but now it has come true. Everyone was shocked by the majestic shape of the Mecha and its posture standing in the air. So handsome. Hurry up and take a picture. This is more shocking than a Hollywood blockbuster. At this time, the cockpit on the chest of the Mecha Tianlong opened, and Lin Chen stood up and looked down and said, "Hey, the front is the restricted area, don't go any further." On the ground, the college students who came to see the Mecha secretly were motionless like clay sculptures and wooden sculptures, but they were so damn handsome. It was exactly like a science fiction blockbuster, full of visual shock. If I drive a Mecha like this home, our village chief's daughter will definitely wait for me in the cornfield. Oh, I'm upset. There are actually men in the world who were more handsome than me, Daniel. I'm so angry. Have you noticed that this Mecha is not being driven now, but is hovering steadily in the air? Then people remembered Lin Chen's warning and repeatedly assured that they were just here to see the Mecha and would go back after enjoying their eyes. 5 minutes later, Lin Chen flew back to the base in the Mecha Tianlong. As soon as he got off the Tianlong, many people in the base immediately gave him a round of warm applause. Even the Emperor of Wang's Empire, Jiangmen, appeared on the runway of the base early. When the applause stopped, he came over and patted Lin Chen on the shoulder, and said with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work. We were all shocked by the Mecha today, and your driving skills are great." Lin Chen said a few polite and modest words. "Has this Mecha been named?" Jiangmen asked. "The Emperor's flower is called Tianlong." "Good name, Tianlong, Zhenlong, Yelong." Jiangmen nodded, his eyes flashing with wisdom, and then asked in confusion, "The Emperor's flower? Isn't it your daughter's nickname, don't you know?" Jiangmen really didn't know about the nickname. This girl ran to Liang Cha's thong since she was a child. He only knew that she was doing well here in some recent news. After all, there are 3 other children in the Emperor's mansion to take care of. Jiangmen glanced around and did not find Jiangshi. He looked a little depressed and said, "The appointment letter from the command office will be delivered in a few days. From now on, you are the highest commander of the entire base, responsible for the affairs of the entire base, and make all your efforts to manufacture Mechas. This is a win over." A brand new force in the Wang's Empire is quietly rising. Its name is the Mecha Force. It's a very cool number. What is the No? 20 core. Compared with it, it is simply weak. Lin Chen sent Jing Minjiwan away in the afternoon. After that, he ordered several engineers to start making weapons for the Tianlong, and then returned to the bedroom of the base and lay quietly on the bed, thinking about Jing Minjiwan and Jiangshi. They are obviously a father and daughter, but it seems that there is a gap between them. Jiangshi is beautiful and capable, not like those women with rebellious hearts outside. Forget it, other people's affairs have nothing to do with me, and there is still work to do. Lin Chen smiled, got up from the bed, turned on the computer, and opened a video call with the supervisor in the command room. Of the things I asked you to prepare ready. Ready. The supervisor is a man in his 30s, and he was a little embarrassed when he answered. Well, send it over. Lin Chen said. The supervisor in the base command room looked unbelievable. The dignified Lin Chen is now the highest commander of the base, but he actually likes to have such thoughts. Sure enough, no matter how talented he is, he can't escape certain laws of a young man full of blood. Then, he sent the several GB video in the computer without hesitation. Chapter 21. The Mecha Design of the Jinlei Empire. That's right, it was a video. The content of the video was about Lin Chen testing the mecha today, not something that was not suitable for children. After all, for Lin Chen, women were far less exciting than Mechas. After watching the content of the video, Lin Chen found it very well edited, and even he was excited, especially the part where the Jinlong slowly descended in the sky and appeared in front of the students who sneaked in. Shock and trembling were not enough to describe everything. Lin Chen, with his blood boiling, opened Weibo and sent the video. In less than an hour, it had attracted millions of views. Is this the first mecha made by our Wang's Empire? So cool. Watch, I'll choose Zili Military University when filling out my application this year. What a bullshit college entrance examination, even if I get the top score in the Empire, it won't stop me from going to Zili Military University. Finally, because the content of this video aroused the thoughts of many young people, you know, they are the main group of mecha fans. Once they can try to drive a mecha, they will definitely give up the university they originally intended to apply for and choose Zili Military University. Since the Mechas of the Empire have been manufactured now, the next step will definitely be to select pilots, so Zili Military University will definitely be a university that selects mecha pilots. Lin Chen knew that what he published would have a great impact, and what he wanted was influence and fan value. After publishing, he looked at the fan value that kept rising on the system panel, rubbed his sore shoulders and went to take a shower. On the internet, after Lin Chen's Weibo was updated, it was reposted to the Empire's largest military website within half an hour. A post titled "The Ultimate Weapon Made by the Empire" appeared on it. The post was just posted by a fan of Lin Chen, and this post naturally attracted the attention of most people online. The attention to this post is not only because of the poster of this post, but also because of the 4 words in the title of the post: War Machine. In the post, there is no doubt that the topics discussed are all about Lin Chen and Mecha. Is the Empire going to rise? It's not good enough. It would be nice if I could see it live. The Empire is mighty, and Lin Chen is too awesome. He can't do anything except give birth to a child. The post now occupies the top position in the forum for a long time. As time goes by, there are more and more of them, and then they're spread to the entire network world by major online media. On the internet, a wave of discussion about Mechas suddenly broke out. This is more shocking and exciting than the Mechas made by Lin Chen alone before. After all, compared with individuals, the Empire's manufacturing is more exciting. The news about the successful test of the Empire's manufacturing of Mechas is getting more and more popular. It became the headline of major news pages almost within a day, and it ranked first in the internet search popularity. At the same time, major news media sent people to Zili Military University. After all, Lin Chen's public identity is a professor of the university. Such a sensational event also attracted the attention of the Jianmeng Empire and the Polar Empire. While the Sanhan Kingdom was still strongly condemning the Wang's Empire for not sending Lin Chen back to its motherland at the World Conference, the news of the successful test of the mecha also spread to the Jianmeng Empire on the other side of the ocean. Emperor Puxi's face was as gloomy as water. He stared at the mecha drawings submitted by the greatest Academy of Sciences of the beautiful Jianmeng Empire. Mr. Metzen, is this the mecha drawing that the Academy spent a year designing? Emperor Puxi pointed to the drawing on the drawing. There are 2 metal tracks on the lower body, heavy armor, and the only weapon on the whole body is the submachine gun mounted on the front of the armor. It looks extremely simple. Compared with the tall, mighty and domineering Mechas of the Wang's Empire, compared with our own Mechas, they can only be described as short, poor and ugly. Yes, you see its metal tracks can travel on any ground, and this machine gun can easily tear apart any enemy, Mechas boasted, quite proud of the work of the Academy of Sciences for a year. Fuck, don't think that you can't tell that this is a tank just because you draw a head on the tank. Emperor Pussy was furious and roared wildly. No, this is what the Senate meant, they are just a bunch of idiots. Look at the mecha of the Wang's Empire, and let's look at our mecha modified from a tank. Fuck, how can we compare? Emperor Puss asked his secretary to turn on the projector, and immediately a video of the Jinlong testing the mecha appeared on the wall. No comparison, no harm. Compared with the mighty Jinlong, the mecha on the design is just a big toy. Emperor Puss covered his face and didn't want to watch this shameful scene anymore. The once backward Wang's Empire actually built a mecha, while the mecha of the Jianmeng Empire was still in the theoretical stage, especially this mecha was so ugly. Fuck. Oh, impossible, it can actually transform? Shouldn't such a thing appear in our beautiful Jianmeng Empire? Metzen found it difficult to accept the reality. I now order you as the Emperor of Jianmeng Empire to redesign a mecha that is larger than that of Wang's Empire. The next day, the Academy of Sciences of Jianmeng Empire began to draw up a new mecha design. According to the order of Emperor Pussy, this time they plan to design a mecha that is 80 meters high and can crush everything. Anyway, as long as it exceeds Wang's Empire, it will be fine. Wang's Empire. The enthusiasm for mecha has slowed down. Content like this is very exciting, but people become numb after seeing it too much, so most people just start to occasionally take a few glances and stop talking about it. They start to pay attention to the focus news of the entertainment industry and the upcoming college entrance examination again. After all, the people of Lin Chen Empire still remember the college entrance examination last year, so they are very curious whether there will be a genius this year, such as building a spaceship. College entrance examination candidates are actively preparing for the college entrance examination. Similarly, Linmeng University is also formulating the standards for recruiting new students this year. At the meeting, the president of Linmeng University spoke first. This year, there are more high school entrance examination candidates in our Wang's Empire than in any previous session, so this year's admission score for candidates in the capital is 450 points, 680 points in Jingzhou Province, 710 points in Jiezhou Province, 710 points in Luzhou Province, and 720 points in Yuzhou Province. With this thought, everyone at the meeting was dumbfounded. Such high scores are too difficult for those candidates in the capital. But if we do this, will we not be able to recruit the standard this year? There is no way, this is what Director Yang Min meant, but then again, even if Linmeng University increases by another 10 points, there will be countless candidates who will break their heads and want to come to Linmeng University. The president of Linmeng University had no choice, this was all the above. That's right. And this is the strong confidence of Linmeng University. And here, because the college entrance examination is approaching, Lin Chen and Liang Shizong discussed for several days and finally decided on a big plan to start a new academic major, the Mecha department. A brand new major, as the name suggests, is to learn to drive Mechas. Although Zili Military University is a third-rate university in the Wang's Empire, its Mecha department is unique in the entire empire, or even in the entire world. Chapter 22 The invasion from another dimension is coming. The only mecha major in the empire has been officially put on the agenda. Because Lin Chen has superb driving skills, he is appointed as the chief instructor to teach driving skills. Later, Liang Shizong secretly gave a huge benefit to the Imperial Command Office and the Ministry of Education, and the project was approved. Zili Military University officially began to open a new major. For a time, Zili Military University Weibo, Ministry of Education Weibo, and Jiezhou Province News began to build momentum everywhere. Message content. Zili Military University has opened a Mecha department. The department can actually fill in a total of 60 people for this year, and the actual physical fitness will be reviewed after the scoreline. Those who fail will return to the second choice school for screening and admission. Many of this year's college entrance examination candidates thought it was fake news when they heard the news. Zili Military University has opened a Mecha department. Later, after being confirmed by many parties, almost many college entrance examination candidates were completely Spartan. Fuck, Mecha department. It's really an eye-opener. I want to go, I want to go. Oh, excited, I want a mecha to become the first batch of mecha pilots in the Empire. 60 people. I feel the competition pressure is so great. Haha, the only mecha department in the world is proud of our Hebei province. Brothers and sisters, come with me to Hebei province. As long as this mecha department is not in Linmeng, otherwise there will be basically no quota for candidates from other provinces. This year's mecha department exploded in the hearts of college entrance examination candidates. After being confirmed by many parties, the news was confirmed, so there was a change in their hearts. Zili Military University can learn to drive Mechas. Although there are only 60 places, the competition will be fierce, but it is always good to try your luck. Even if you don't pass, you can go to the second or third choice. There are many college entrance examination candidates who have such thoughts. First of all, driving a mecha is cool. Secondly, as a brand new combat weapon, as long as you become a pilot, the treatment you get in the Empire is definitely not worse than flying an airplane. Now there is an opportunity to become a mecha pilot, so only a fool would not go to Zili Military University. As for the candidates in Linmeng, they all turned the table over. This time, everyone is on the same starting line, competing for 60 places. They may not even meet the score line for the first round. So angry. Doesn't Linmeng University even have this privilege? As time goes by, it is now after the college entrance examination. The parents of the candidates are concerned about the universities in the Empire and their children's grades that have not yet been announced. In the evening, in a certain residential building, the candidate said to his family, "My first choice is Linmeng University. It would be even better if I can get the opportunity to immigrate to the Jianmeng Empire in the future." Asshole. The family was furious on the spot and roared, "Your great-grandfather was a soldier, your grandfather was a soldier, your father was also a soldier, our family has been soldiers for generations, and you were actually worshipping foreigners." The same thing is still happening all over the Empire. In a certain community, the mother of the candidate smiled and said, "Son, your father has already asked the senior officials of the 4th Corps. As long as you fill in Zili Military University, you will definitely be admitted to the Mecha department." The candidate was horrified and said, "If my father knew the senior officials of the 4th Corps, he would still have raised pigs in the 4th Corps for 20 years. The next day, after the college entrance examination results came out, many people frantically filled in Zili Military University as their first choice, with the Mecha department in brackets. As for well-known universities such as Linmeng University and Bayesian University, they became unpopular and became the second echelon. After all, even if the Mecha assessment of Zili Military University was not passed, it could be returned to the second choice. This is almost equivalent to Zili Military University giving priority to candidates. Cool. When the application form was sent to Linmeng University, the university immediately held an emergency meeting. Except for the candidates in the capital, almost all the candidates in other provinces tacitly filled in Linmeng University as their second choice, as if they had reached some agreement. The president of Linmeng University collapsed on the spot. This is completely different from the previous bold words and full confidence, because the highest institution of higher learning in the Wangxi Empire has become the second echelon, picking up candidates that others don't want. If it were other universities, it would be easier to say, and it would look better. After all, even if the sky falls, there needs to be a taller person to hold it up, but Linmeng University is the tallest person, the first person to hold up the sky. The president of Linmeng University has even seen the hateful faces of the presidents of other universities. Of course, other universities don't have the same mentality as Linmeng University. Anyway, it's the same every year, picking up the people left by others. Besides, as the second echelon, only 60 people will be selected first, which doesn't affect anything. But it's different to see Linmeng University make a fool of itself. It has always been Linmeng University that has been high and mighty to pick people first, and they picked up the leftovers of others. Now finally everyone is picking up the leftovers of others together. This makes me feel very happy. Then various leaders gathered to celebrating the shame of Linmeng University. Several other military universities in the Empire are also very dissatisfied with the current status of Zili Military University. Jealous of the treatment of Zili Military University, he shouted at the meeting, "Zili University is nothing, it's just a watchdog of the capital and Tianjin. Is it great to have a broken mecha? It's like it's worth 258 million. Secretary Liu, please contact Liang Shizong tonight. I want to treat him to a drink and see if he can get 2 Mechas." In the base, Lin Chen didn't know all this. He was only responsible for teaching how to make Mechas and how to drive Mechas. Things like how to select and evaluate them were the things that the Empire and Liang Shizong should do. Looking at the 4-meter-high giant sword made of super-hard chromium in front of him, Lin Chen nodded with satisfaction and said to the crew through the headset, "Be careful." The giant sword was loaded onto the mecha by a crane. Lin Chen asked the researcher beside him, "Lao Wang, where are our long-range weapons? The particle beam gun and proton cannon technology you gave us are too advanced. We have previously put all our energy on the Tianlong, so it will take a long time to understand." Researcher Lao Wang checked today's work and blushed. "Just make a rifle suitable for the Tianlong, and use it for now." Lin Chen did not blame Lao Wang. After all, the technology was too advanced, and the base had previously focused all its work on developing the Tianlong. Use it for now? Lao Wang was puzzled. Why did he sound as if it was going to be used soon? It's always right to prepare in advance. Lin Chen nodded. Only he knew that according to the countdown of the system, it was estimated that in a few weeks, the conspiracy of aliens and monsters from other dimensions would invade. In fact, it was exactly as Lin Chen guessed. In the sea area of the Jianmeng Empire, a certain seabed suddenly became blurred and twisted, and time and space shook, and a singularity occurred. Chapter 23 Disasters caused by monsters. The singularity was expanding rapidly, and the surrounding space was twisted. A huge crack completely tore the space on the seabed, presenting a circular door of 100 meters in size, creating a channel connecting different dimensions and forming a huge crossing port. Afterwards, a huge black shadow appeared from the channel, and it took several seconds for the endless body to completely rush out of the channel. There happened to be a cruise ship returning to the Jianmeng Empire on the sea level, and the fluctuations caused the huge black shadow to be attracted and followed from the bottom of the sea. At the time, on the cruise ship, the guys were wearing shorts and whistling, while the beauties were wearing colorful bikinis and dancing, twisting their hot bodies. "Hey, Jennifer, are you interested in having a drink tonight and feeling my enthusiasm?" "No, I'm not happy drinking with you at all, your enthusiasm is very weak." "Martina, come here quickly, I found a guy with explosive muscles." The sound of fighting and laughter filled the entire luxury cruise ship. People didn't know that danger was coming, and they were still wriggling. A huge black shadow emerged from the seabed and attracted the attention of the crew on the deck. They shouted, "Oh, everyone, come and see the whale." With this shout, the young men and women on the deck immediately stopped reveling and leaned over the railing to look down. "Oh my god, what a big and strong creature. Isn't this whale too big?" The black shadow in the sea gradually became clear. It was nearly 100 meters long, larger than the cruise ship, and even the surrounding fish didn't dare to approach. Another veteran crew member said in horror, "God, that's not a whale, Captain Orr, use your most exquisite driving skills to make the cruise ship run faster. This is definitely a dangerous large creature." While the black shadow broke out of the water. It is a terrifying and ferocious giant creature, somewhat similar to the flying dragon in the west, but it is even larger. It is estimated to be 80 to 100 meters long, black and red all over. The most eye-catching thing is that its wings are actually a pair of mechanical wings. This is a terrifying creature that is a combination of machinery and flesh. The monster flew up from the sea, spreading its wings above the sea level. Its long neck had a ferocious head, 2 twisted horns and 8 blue eyes as big as millstones, looking down at the screaming little reptiles in front of it. The tourists were all terrified, their mouths opened into a knot shape, staring blankly at the monster that blocked out the sky. Yin. The monster's roar seemed to tear the sky apart, awakening the tourists on the cruise ship from their trance. "Ah, it's a monster. This must be a monster made by the Wang's Empire to attack us. Call the police." "Fuck, you idiot, we're in the middle of the sea." The tourists screamed in fear, but the monster's terrifying mouth opened, and a bright blue light shot out of its mouth and hit the cruise ship. The next second, the cruise ship was gone, and a mess of debris floated on the sea level. It was obvious that this monster was intelligent. After dealing with a boatload of small ants, it looked to the east, where the outline of the city was. At the time, in the Jianmeng Empire, Pussy was arguing with the Elders Council. "Fuck, you bunch of idiots, the Wang's Empire already has its own mecha, oh my god, it can fly, is our powerful Jianmeng Empire going to use pitiful combat helicopters to fight them in the future?" An elder of the Elders Council said, "We think you were under a lot of pressure at work recently, so we decided to let General Mario handle the affairs of the Empire." "Fuck, you elders can't do this." Pussy yelled repeatedly. "The Elders Council has the right to appoint and dismiss anyone, including you." The elder of the Elders' Council, Karabai, said. The guards in black clothes at the door rushed in, but were stopped by the Minister of the Interior, who rushed in, and he was holding documents in his hand, and roared, "You bunch of pigs, look at how correct Emperor Pussi's order to build Mechas is." A pile of documents hit Karabai's face. In the past, the Minister of the Interior of the Jianmeng Empire also thought that Emperor Pussi was too stupid to build useless Mechas. However, now that a disaster is happening in Walton City, he understands how clear Emperor Pussi's orders are. He is simply the prophet and the god of freedom of the Jianmeng Empire. Elder Karabai flicked through the documents hurriedly and was stunned. What? A monster over 80 meters long appeared in Walton City. Our large weapons can't lock the monster, and the monster has some kind of mysterious energy shield. Can it only rely on traditional weapons to attack? The elders were very unbelievable, and they really couldn't think of any other reason to believe it. After all, where in the world did the monster come from? And it was so serious, and the weapons lost the guidance system against the monster, and there was also an energy shield. In the end, the Minister of the Interior had to use the satellite with great effort to take a few more pictures of the current tragic situation in Walton City, and the elders headed by Karabai had to choose to believe it. Emperor Pussi, you must try your best to recover the losses of the empire, otherwise you will be the sinner of the Jianmeng Empire. Lakabaki immediately began to shout responsibility. Anyway, no matter how the monster was destroyed, in the end, the people of the Jianmeng Empire would be furious with Pussi, not the Senate. You bunch of idiots, without me, there will be no Jianmeng Empire in the world. Pussi was very proud. Then, a series of orders were issued, ordering the legions near the city of Walton to rush to support the disaster site. Emperor Pussi sat in a chair and looked at the photos transmitted from the satellite in disbelief. How could the monster have mechanical wings? Is there someone behind the scenes controlling it? For a moment, he had already guessed which country had such ability. That's right, it must be the Wangxi Empire behind the scenes. Here. Walton City is a well-known big city in the Jianmeng Empire and even the whole world. It integrates finance, humanities, technology, etc. There are tall buildings everywhere, and traffic is busy, but now there is no trace of the prosperity before. The ruined city was full of collapsed buildings. The city was filled with sirens and smoke drifting to the sky. Some streets were crowded with vehicles trying to escape from this dangerous large meat grinder. Two combat helicopters carrying heavy weapons arrived, bringing hope to the victims. They were no longer afraid. They got off the cars and looked at how the evil monsters fell under the indestructible ammunition of the Jianmeng Empire. Look, that's the latest combat helicopter developed by our Jianmeng Empire. We're saved. We must destroy the evil monsters and avenge my dad Fiang. The soldiers in the two combat helicopters also felt the encouragement from the people below, which made them more determined to hit the monsters, so they shouted on the intercom. Go, go, go. Our guidance system failed. The weapon launcher shouted hurriedly. Never mind, quickly notify the teammates on the other helicopter and launch missiles first. So, swoosh, whoosh, two office buildings that had luckily escaped from the monster were blown up by 4 missiles. Chapter 24. Walton City is gone. The people of Jianmeng Empire were completely devastated, and hope turned into despair. It turned out that the military was not here to destroy the monsters, but to help the monsters destroy the city together. Fuck, it must be the monster that old guy Pussy summoned. Run. Panic once again enveloped the hearts of the people of Jianmeng Empire, and people were panicking and trying desperately to escape the city. This was a disaster caused by the monster. Countless houses were flattened by the wings of the huge monsters, and everywhere it passed was a mess. In Walton City, the monster can be described as sweeping all the way, and nothing can stop it from moving forward. To the monster, the humble little ants on the ground know nothing about the real power. Yin. The monster roared and easily broke the overpass, causing a puff of smoke and dust to fly. In just half an hour, the damage it caused in Walton City caused incalculable losses. A black guy was tied with explosives all over his body, wanting to die with the monster. He stood on the roof and shouted, "Hey, you evil big guy, come on." However, how could a creature that was not even a small reptile attract the attention of a monster over 80 meters long? It continued to move forward to destroy. Bang, a discus with a black guy printed on it appeared on the ground. Soon after, large-scale armies of the Jianmeng Empire appeared one after another, and heavy firepower such as machine guns and RPGs began to spit out flames. Fire. Based on the experience of the previously destroyed troops, no command system could lock onto this monster, and the monster would also trigger something similar to an energy shield, so all the volunteer troops carried conventional weapons. But if you want to deal with this monster, with this firepower, it's not even optical, just like an ant army besieging an elephant. Yin. A bright blue light spurted out of the monster's mouth. The next second, the ground troops were completely lost. At this moment, a group of fighters appeared from the sky and quickly arrived at the battlefield. "We're saved." The citizens of Wotan cheered. They believed that the true pride of the Jianming Empire, the fighter jets, could destroy everything, and this monster was no problem. Long-range guided missiles were fired one by one, a total of 36 missiles, but when the guidance could not lock, the fighter jets were not as practical as a soldier carrying a rocket launcher on his shoulder. Only 3 of the 36 missiles broke the monster's energy shield, and 2 hit the monster's body. As for the other 29, they had already flown to their grandmother's house. On the fighter jet, an Air Force pilot said with a headset, "Our guidance system really can't lock the monster." The Air Force captain said, "Retreat quickly." So the 9 fighter jets quickly turned around and rushed into the distance. Countless citizens on the ground didn't know that the Air Force had run away. When they saw the monster's huge body rising to clouds of smoke, they began to shout excitedly on the spot. "Our Jianming Empire is worthy of being the world's hegemon, and its military power is amazing. Our Air Force has completed the mission and has returned. Why did only 2 of our missiles hit?" People cheered and jumped for joy. The monster moved and roared again. At this time, the entire dilapidated city was quiet, and countless citizens' mouths turned into naught shapes, looking at the monster with only a little skin broken in disbelief. There were 2 missiles just now, and it just broke a little skin. Fuck, our Air Force didn't return, but was scared away. Is this really our army? The power of my P is more powerful than the shell just now. Free Jianming Empire, monsters every day. The people of Wotan completely collapsed. The ground troops were completely lost by the monster's saliva, and the Air Force played a 0 role. The news that Wotan was attacked by monsters soon swept across the 50 provinces of Jianming Empire like a hurricane. Shocked the entire Jianming Empire. The reaction of the people when they heard it was disbelief. You know, Jianming Empire is a well-known paradise, an empire that combines beauty and freedom. How could there be a monster attack? And that monster has mechanical wings, a protective shield, and special abilities. Lies, must be lies. But as more and more reports came out, more and more videos and photos about the monster and the disaster area of Wotan City were released, and everyone was stunned. The monster actually existed. In half a day, half of the prosperous Wotan City was reduced to ruins. Why does the monster have mechanical wings? Damn, it must be a biological weapon of the polar country. Missiles can't guide the monster. Only by breaking its protective shield can it be injured. Almost at the same time, the people of the Jianming Empire focused their attention on Wotan City, which had been plagued by the monster for half a day. Reporters from various countries rushed to Wotan City. Sure enough, looking from the edge of the city, you can see a huge flying dragon-shaped monster that is recklessly wreaking havoc on any building or any creature. A team of tanks drove into Wotan City, venting artillery fire to meet the monster. Such a shocking scene can only be seen in war blockbusters. The steel torrent is enough to tear apart any enemy, and dense shells hit the monster without cost. Congratulations to them for successfully hurting and angering the monster. Then, bang bang bang, the monster was furious, kicking the discus one by one. The fighter planes were simply here to die. Not only did their shells miss the target, but the monster swatted 2 of them away as soon as they appeared. 10 armed helicopters flew over, but they were useless except for the suicide shells fired at close range to hit the monster. After the army lost its weapon guidance, it would undoubtedly need more firepower to kill the monster. In the temporary refugee camp built 10 kilometers outside of Wotan City, the once well-dressed Wotan citizens were now sitting together in a dusty state, complaining constantly. Why can't our army beat the monster? We are the #1 military power, but our tanks and planes are nothing in front of the monster. Damn pussy, it's because he cut military spending that we can't beat the monster. It must be that the Voyager 1 launched by the last Senate was discovered by aliens. The citizens of Wotan was very disappointed with the Jianming Empire Center. We usually brag that we are the world's hegemon, and we will beat anyone who doesn't obey us and mess with anyone who doesn't please us. But when the monster comes, all the lies are exposed, and all the military weapons are as good as paper. At night, the army of the Jianmeng Empire failed to stop the monster, and it was still wreaking havoc on the city of Watan, which was about to become a ruin. But the only good news is that in addition to the Air Force, 2 full-scale legions of 200,000 people are rushing to the west coast. Even their proud Pacific fleet intended to move closer to the west coast, but was scolded by Emperor Pussy. Fuck, the monster cannot be locked by the guidance system. Do you idiots want to join in the fun and blow up our city and people? Chapter 25. The monster must come from the Wangxian Empire. At night, the Emperor's palace was brightly lit. Staff members were walking around, all directing the disaster area of Watan City, the military movements, traffic movements, etc. After Emperor Pussy hung up the phone, he covered his forehead and drooped weakly. At this time, he had lost his previous spirit, and all he could think about was the monster that was still wreaking havoc. The guidance system could not lock on. Only by breaking its protective shield could it be effectively hit. It can fly, and it can spray a special energy wave from its mouth. But the question is, where did this monster come from? Emperor Pussy was full of doubts. If you say that this monster has no wisdom, he would never believe it. Judging from the monster's actions, this monster has the instincts of a wild beast, and its purpose is also very clear: to destroy everything. At this time, the Minister of the Interior walked in and said, "Your Majesty, people from all walks of life are now skeptical about your ability and think that you can no longer handle state affairs." Emperor Pussy glanced at him and said, "Is it because of the monster?" The Minister of the Interior nodded. "Hold an emergency press conference." Emperor Pussy sighed. He knew that the pigs in the Senate would definitely put the blame on him. At the moment, it seems that the only way is to follow the old rules. So this monster must come from the 2 dangerous empires of Jedi or Wangxian. Yes, it must be like this. After temporary arrangements and notifications, an emergency press conference was held at the door of the Emperor's palace. "Your Majesty Emperor Pussy, did you invite the monster?" A reporter from the Jedi Kingdom asked the first question. Emperor Pussy's face was stiff and he took a deep breath. The scene was silent. Everyone's face was very unnatural. Is this possible? Damn, if this old guy Pussy really had this ability, he would have ascended to heaven long ago. The reporters present knew the deep-rooted grievances between the Jedi Empire and the Jianmeng Empire, so they all expressed their understanding. Another reporter asked, "Excuse me, do you have an unshakable responsibility for the monster attack on Watan City?" "I sympathize with the people of Watan City. The Emperor's palace has made military deployments. 2 legions of 200,000 people will rush to Watan City in the early morning to beat the monster." At this point, Emperor Pussy smiled mysteriously, and the time to brag has come. He straightened his face and said, "A long time ago, I had a premonition that the world would be unsafe, so I have ordered the Academy of Sciences to develop a large robot that can crush everything. Unfortunately, the elders let the Academy of Sciences use tanks to fool me." As he said that, he took out a plan for Mecha. Perfect speech. Not only did he show his ability, but he also discredited the elders' council. The reporters were all stunned. Does this old guy Pussy still have shame? If he is so awesome and has the ability to predict the future, why doesn't he evacuate the people of Watan City in advance? A reporter from the Wangxian Empire asked, "Where did the monster that is wreaking havoc in Watan City come from?" "According to my speculation, this evil monster is likely to come from one of the 2 empires, the Polar Empire and the Wangxian Empire." Emperor Pussy said in a deep voice, looking serious. The whole audience was in an uproar when these words came out. "Are you trying this again?" The plague was brought into the Jianmeng Empire by others, and the underground project built by others caused the Jianmeng Empire to earthquake. Every time something bad happens in the Jianmeng Empire, you can always find any impeccable excuse to push the responsibility onto these 2 empires. On that day, in the Wangxian Empire, which was far away on the other side of the ocean. Because of the time difference, the night in the Jianmeng Empire is the day in the Wangxian Empire. So when the monsters were wreaking havoc in the Jianmeng Empire during the day, it was time to sleep in the Wangxian Empire, and it was the next morning when the news was received. At the time, the news had just been introduced into the country not long ago and was spreading, but for some people who had just woken up, they naturally didn't know about it at all. For example, Lin Chen, he had just woken up, and was brushing his teeth in front of the mirror with drooping eyelids, and from time to time he glanced at his 6-pack abs that he had trained in the military camp. Strange, how come I get more and more with practice? According to Lin Chen, the highest realm of abdominal muscles is that the more you practice, the less you get, and finally you reach the state of unity. At this time, the sound of bang 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 on the door sounded, and Jiangshi shouted from outside, "Professor Lin! Lin Chen, open the door quickly, something big has happened." Lin Chen opened the door with a toothbrush in his mouth and asked, "Hey, is there something wrong? Come quickly." Jiangshi pulled Lin Chen up and ran to the command room. "Wait a minute, I'll change my pajamas first." The guards in all the passages of the entire base were shocked. Princess Jiangshi slept with the commander of the base. Was it taking advantage of her power? Oh, this is a question worth pondering. Guard A whispered to Guard B on the intercom. "I just saw Professor Lin Chen in his pajamas being dragged away by Miss Jiangshi. Fuck, have you seen anything more exciting?" Guard B was immediately shocked, and a three-dimensional battle movie appeared in his mind. It was not until he arrived at the command room that Lin Chen understood Jiangshi's intention. Several controllers in the command room looked at Lin Chen in surprise. He was holding a toothbrush and wearing open pajamas. It looked like Miss Jiangshi had just brought him out of bed. "This is the news just sent by the command office." Jiangshi showed Lin Chen a video. The video was from what happened in Jianmeng Empire yesterday. A huge monster, like a flying dragon in the west, with mechanical wings on its back, was wantonly destroying the city of Wotan in Jianmeng Empire. According to the displayed information, this monster could not be locked by the guidance system, had a mysterious energy shield, and would spray out an energy wave. After watching the video, Lin Chen immediately took a look at the system tasks. Task 1. Build a mecha, 95% progress. Task 2. Stop the monster invasion and crush the alien conspiracy. Seeing this, Lin Chen could already conclude that the monster that was wreaking havoc was the system's task 2, because the countdown behind it had ended, which meant that the monster invasion had begun. What the command office meant was that the monsters have overturned our cognition. We don't know where they came from and how many there are. They asked if such monsters entered our Wang's empire and the guided weapons became scrap metal, would our Mechas be useful? Jiangshi repeated the command officer's question verbatim. Lin Chen speculated that without guided weapons, the army would be a scum in the face of monsters, and it would be extremely difficult to break the monster's energy shield. On the whole, Mechas are indeed the ultimate combat weapon against monsters. It's not a big problem. We can win by numbers. Lin Chen finally concluded that although the monsters were more than 80 meters in size, the Mechas were only about 8 meters tall, nearly 10 to 1. However, the Mechas are flexible and can fight at close range. They do not need weapon guidance and can also win by numbers. Jiangshi responded to Lin Chen's meaning to the command office of the capital in the name of the base, and did not forget to say, "Oh, by the way, just now, at 21 o'clock in the Jianmeng Empire time, the old guy Pussy threw dirty water on us again, saying that this evil monster might come from our Wang's Empire." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.